All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you, I guess, our weekly live stream, which I've I continue to do. It looks like we're gonna keep doing. Hey Zim, hey Sinsin, hey Remy, how you guys doing? Someone just let me know if you can hear me all right, if my microphone's okay today. I think it should be. We're using Firefox, so it should be all right. So it's about it's about 9 o'clock, so I'm doing good, Zim. How you doing? Hey, Tom. Awesome. So it sounds like everything is good with the audio, so that's good this week. No problems here. Hey, Parbler, how you doing? John Rod, how's it going, man? Reno, thanks, man. How you doing? And Janie's here too. How you doing, Janie? That's good. So we got a few people starting to join now for the live stream. So I decided we would go ahead and just continue along. Hey Remy, thanks man. I appreciate that you like the live feeds. Hey Dwighty, how you doing, man? 83, so Dwighty boy 83, so that's cool. So hey Frank, how's it going, man? Aiden, Tim F's here, Giuseppe's here. So I just basically am continuing along with what we're doing with the channel, what we have been doing. Want to at least do, I would say, at least a weekly stream for Walking Dead. I did do a video today. I filmed one about me not wanting to take the vaccine for COVID, but I had to. I didn't upload it because I get scared, because it's like on one hand, I want to voice my opinion on what's going on with the whole TS19 world situation, but at the same time, I don't want to put too much heat on the channel to where YouTube starts to screw it up or remove a whole bunch of videos. They removed a couple of my videos, but it's not too bad. It was only like two of them. And then one of the streams we did, which had TS19, the word with it starts with a C, they'll try not to say it, in the title, I think it was stream blacklisted, or what they do is you can have the stream run, and if people go to the channel directly, then they can see the stream. But if they don't do that, then it won't show up in their subscription boxes and it won't show up properly. So that happened kind of last week. So it's so kind of upsetting with regards to that. But so I'm trying to play kind of an even ground here to what we can discuss and what we sort of can't due to what the powers that be don't want us to talk about. But this is a Walking Dead live stream, so we'll start things off with Walking Dead, and I see we've got some questions starting to come through here. So Dead updates for this week. So there isn't too much new this week that's been released. I can say that in probably the 11 years that I've been covering Walking Dead, starting about a year to 2 years before the TV series started in 2010, so since about 2009, I want to say this is probably the least amount of Walking Dead news we have actually gotten or had in over a short period of time that there has been since the series basically started, since the TV series started. And because the comics are over, right? But for the TV series and the multiple different shows we have for Walking Dead, it's a bit tricky with the whole world shutdown situation. Because of that, we're not sure when things are going to be starting up, but there is an interview that was posted with Lenny James from Fear the Walking Dead, because that was the series that I would say, got impacted by it the most? I think so, because of all the Walking Dead 3 series, and the movies too. They were actually filming Fear the Walking Dead season 6 when it got shut down. So I was under the impression that they were starting back up again soon here for resuming filming with Fear. The Walking Dead season 10 finale, I'm pretty sure they're maybe getting close to starting to work on it. And it sounded like it had about a week to 2 weeks left of work to do. So I would anticipate they should finish the season 10 finale within the month, or at least within a month from now. So at least mid-June it should be done. When will they decide to air it is a different question. Will they air it right away as soon as it's finished? Will they hold it for a while and wait until maybe the fall or something, and then premiere it at a certain date when they want to kind of build up some hype or anticipation for it? I hope for the season 10 finale, they will just air it and we'll just get to see it. But people are starting to go back to work now. Things are starting to return back to normal, which is awesome to see. Really great to see. I think we all kind of wanted that, really badly. The lockdown, it's not it's not really healthy, I think, for our society as a whole to just be on house arrest like that all the time. So, but here's the interview and what Lenny James had to say. He plays Morgan, obviously, for The Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead. It says here, quote from comicbook.com, we have no official restart time, but everything is still moving as if we will be back, Lenny James said, adding AMC is, quote, so this is what's happening right now. They're in consultation with experts to find the safest and best way and the most functional way of not just restarting, but restarting safely and finding a way to remain safe. So with regards to filming Fear the Walking Dead, and probably also for The Walking Dead Season 10's finale, they're starting to get back into the process of of resuming everything, but they have to be careful with how they do things because they want everybody to be safe. So that makes sense to me. I mean, we don't want anyone to put themselves in harm's way. At the end of the day, it is entertainment. It is fun stuff. It's not, I guess, a living necessity like food or water or something. It's definitely fun stuff, and I'm happy that they're getting back to it, but we definitely don't want them to put themselves at risk. Now, there's certain countries, I think South Korea is a country that set a good example for some others where they have temperature checks, and I think the airlines are doing this too in a lot of places. Depends where you are. I know we've got people here from everywhere, Ireland and every country in the world, Australia, everywhere, New Zealand, wherever. And so what a lot of the other, like South Korea's example, some of the other countries in and around there in Asia that were pretty fast to respond. They're doing like temperature checks, before people enter, maybe before they go on planes, that whole thing. I did see in one article that says it's going to take like 4 hours. Now, it depends where you are, but to fly, it might take 4 hours to check in and then to fly, and then, I guess to be checked when you come down or something, because in any close, quarters situations like that, it's possible that if someone is sick, they could cough or sneeze or whatever and spread it around in the air, especially in air conditioning environments like cruise ships and stuff like that. So as far as people flying in to work on Fear or to work on Walking Dead or whatever, it sounds like it might just be slowed down, like it might take longer to fly. And the security is going to be more intense, and that's what's going to be happening. So, but happy to hear from Lenny James that they're strategizing, they're coming up with ways to continue on with filming. Now, The Walking Dead Season 11, usually at this time each year, The Walking Dead would have already started filming. Because it's near the end of May now. So they would have already started filming Season 11, or they would at least be in the productionary stages where they're getting everything set to film. So the fact that we have this TS19 world situation now basically means that if Fear the Walking Dead has not restarted yet, we can probably reasonably anticipate that The Walking Dead Season 10 will see that episode, but the finale episode. But as far as Season 11 is concerned, that will probably be pushed into 2021, probably. I think is reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable for us to expect to see a premiere in October or maybe November, something like that. Since they're not even close to kind of starting yet right now, I anticipate to see Season 11 pushed back to at least at the earliest, probably a December start. But more than likely, maybe they hold off till 2021 because of everything that's happening and the fact that they would already be behind. Chris Mack Talks sent through our first super chat for this one. Thank you, Chris. And Chris said, I don't think Beta should die in the season finale. So, yeah, I think a lot of us are hoping to see Beta survive through the finale episode so we can get to see him back in season 11. But the actor Ryan Hurst has been cast in a Hulu series, so maybe he will be killed off in the finale. I hope he won't. I don't want to see him be killed off in the finale either. And I hope that that we'll see him back in season 11. Hey, Jason, JDev, Entertainment Network sent through a super chat. Thanks, Jason. Next week or whatever, just send me the questions. You don't have to always do that, but I appreciate it. Back, hey, Trev. Jason back again here with another question. Did you hear that John Bernthal will be in at least the first Walking Dead movie? Oh, yeah. So I saw your Facebook. You messaged me on Facebook. I wanted to reply to you, but I got a whole bunch of stuff I got backed up on this week. So, so John Bernthal, it sounds like, has kind of been rumored. I think we got this covered as the one who said that. I think that's where that came from. So take it for what it's worth. But at least they're thinking about having Shane in the Walking Dead movies. One of the theories I think was kind of popular was that maybe in the movies Rick will have amnesia and won't know who he is, and he'll think he's Shane or something like that. I think that's a cool idea. I think that could work out nicely for the movies, and would also make sense as to why he didn't return if he has amnesia and he doesn't know who he is. So that could be cool. They'd have to be it'd be a little tricky with how they pull it off. They'd have to be very careful with it to make it work so it doesn't feel ridiculous. But I'd be happy to see him come back. It was so great in the season 9, What Comes After, Rick's last episode, when he returned, even for them to just be in the police car. That was so awesome. And I think Shane is still rated as the best Walking Dead villain, even to this very day. So even above Alpha, even above Negan, Governor, Shane is still rated as the all-time greatest Walking Dead villain. So that's pretty amazing, considering he was only in, let's see, the second season and then the short first season of 6 episodes. So he was only in a few episodes there to start off the series in the first 2 seasons. And then, you have villains like the Governor, who had, like, I want to say a full season and a half. Well, that's close, more episodes though, because seasons were longer. And then you had Alpha's had a couple years, right? Isn't it? Or maybe a little bit over a year. So, but Negan has had a long time. So for Shane to be regarded as the best villain, even after this much time, is actually really great. Dimps, how you doing, man? 316. How's everything, man? Hope you're doing good. He said, "Hey, Trev, great to catch you live, man." So thanks, Dimps. If you have a Walking Dead question or anything, you can send it through and we can get into it. But thanks for joining us, Dimps. I do appreciate it. And Anton, thanks for the super chat, Anton. Really appreciate it. He said, "Hey, Trev, just to let you know, you've been pronouncing my last name wrong every time you read out my question, but it's okay. I find it funny. Anyway, do you think Ezekiel will survive his cancer?" So, Anton, your last name starts with a Z. It's Zarzoso. Is that how you say it? Is that totally mispronounced? Zarzoso? Is that how you say it? Leave me another comment here so I can see if I said it wrong. But do you think Ezekiel will survive his cancer? Yeah, I do think Ezekiel will actually survive that. I think he'll go with the others. That's why he's with Eugene and Yumiko. And he's going to the Commonwealth, most likely. And I think they will have an answer for his cancer. So it looks brutal. It looks bad. But this is Walking Dead. Usually if you've got something telegraphed, like something like that, did I get your name right this time? That's good. Usually if they show you something like that and it's too obvious, they won't do it. Typically, if they're going to do a character death like Ezekiel or something, they'll shock you with it, or they'll do something like you don't expect. They'll use it for some big thing. This way, I think it's more likely he will survive. Yeah, I agree. And somebody did send through, let's see here, supposedly the FX team for Walking Dead has started to finish the finale. So hopefully soon from Tim F. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, they're working on it, maybe a couple weeks here, and then just to decide when they premiere it, right? We'll have to see when AMC wants to show it, because also another side effect of this too is that the advertisements are most likely going to be in the tank, right? You're probably not going to have a whole lot of advertising going on right now, so they may want to hold off to show it, possibly. We'll have to see how that affects things. And we have to be understanding. I know we all want to see the episode right away, but there is... they put a lot into the Walking Dead series. It's not a cheap series to make, and so if they have to premiere it later on at a certain date when they have to sort out the ad situation for them, I mean, that's just whatever it is, what it is. Or maybe they could do like a show it on premiere only or something and kind of do it that way and release it way ahead of time or something. That'd be cool too. Let's see what we've got here. Whatever they have to do. Voiding says, "Hey, so how you doing, Voiding? Thanks for joining us. Just One Gun, thanks for joining. J Sweetie 24. Let's see what else we got here. Someone did say that they had decided to give Fear the Walking Dead a shot, and they said they liked it. Where's that comment of someone who said that and that they did like it? Okay, so James Stewart, I don't agree with Trev on a lot of his opinions. But I believe it's important that they are out there, but I'm here for the Walking Dead content. So thanks, James. Yeah, and I know I'm not in delusion here. I know you guys are primarily here for Walking Dead. You enjoy Walking Dead more. With the real world stuff and what's going on in the world right now, it just got in the way. That's all. But I'm sure there'll be lots more stuff coming. And again, production restarting on in the entertainment industry as a whole, I want to say, and just them trying to make sure that everybody is healthy and all that. So that's good, and that and safe and everything. And the numbers for TS19 are looking really good. I haven't done a video recently on it because I'm unsure about whether or not I should, and I'm unsure about whether or not YouTube is okay with that. But basically, the active cases are only going up by about 30,000 people a day, which is at a constant, not at an exponential. So that's really good. That just means that there's a few more people. Keep in mind, there's over 8 billion people, 8 billion of us on the planet, right? So to only see, 30,000 people additional a day, that's really good, man. If it stays like that, that should be just fine. Now, there are people getting better. So there's people minused off of that. So it's like 100,000 a day, but about 70,000 of them are healing up from before. So they're minused off. So, but 30,000 active additional a day is not that bad. That's really good, and so that means that everything will be okay. Remy LeBeau said, and Gambit, I'm a huge Gambit fan too. I did a Marvel Legends collection video last week. If you guys missed it, it's in the channel. Lots of Sentinels and cool stuff, and I might do some more of those in the future because I love figures. They better not touch the Paul is Dead videos. So the Paul is Dead videos. We'll get back to Walking Dead in a second here, guys. But the Paul is Dead videos have been allowed to stay. They haven't given me any heat for it. They haven't given me any trouble for it. So far as I know, there is a disclosure process for Paul is Dead that's being started because Paul or Bill is very old now. So he's coming down the water. He might have another decade left, maybe 15 years, maybe. It'll be 100 pretty soon, right? Like, in the next, within our lifetime, this will be more disclosed and there'll be more information allowed to be released about Paul is Dead. So that's a disclosure process that's in progress right now. There will be a point in time, if you're young, where everybody knows there was a replacement. What I'm doing with you guys is I'm giving the information ahead of time. So it's going to be coming down the pipe. They're gonna let people know eventually, and it's a careful, slow disclosure process. We can't see. That's why I have to be kind of tricky about it. But so far as I know, we're allowed to continue. I'm allowed to continue. It's fine. We can do more Paul is Dead videos if we want to, if there's interest. If there isn't, then we just, okay, well, nobody cares, so we're just going to stop. I know it's a long time ago. A lot of you guys are not Beatles fans. A lot of you guys are not into that. But it reveals some really cool things about social engineering, which is really fun. And I can confirm for you that it is a disclosure process that is going to be let out more and more and more as time goes on. So will there be a day when everybody knows that there was a replacement for him? If you're young, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But it might be a bit like the moon landings, where if you want to look into it, you can get the answers. You can know the actual true answer. But for most people, if they don't want to look into it, then that's fine. They don't have to, and they can just think whatever. But I might do some more Paul is Dead videos. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't decided yet. And really, it depends on interest. But I am a huge fan of Paul. I am maybe an even bigger fan of Bill. I view him as kind of a role model that he's been able to keep producing. Because remember, the Beatles were at top of the world, and then they ended, and then he did Wings, and then he was able to continue to just keep producing all those years after, when the Beatles were not on the top of the world anymore. So I view him as a bit of a role model myself, because, Walking Dead was so popular. The channel used to get like 2 or 3 million views a month, that whole thing. And now it's not as popular anymore. So, but I want to keep producing. And that's why I kind of look up to him in some ways, to kind of see like, okay, how did you keep going all these years after, when, your heyday was in the 60s, and yet you're still making music in, 2019 or 2020 or whatever. So that's why I really look up to Bill in a lot of ways. And I'm a huge fan of his. And again, like I said, for those of you guys who have no idea what I'm talking about right now, one day you'll understand, but maybe not right now. Maybe it's too soon for you to know. Some of these things, most people still think the moon landings were real. So it's one of those things where if you want to know, they give you the answers. The answers are there. The Masons give it to you, but you have to have the eyes to see. And if you don't want to see, then that's your prerogative. You don't have to see. That's fine. but they give you the tools to learn if you want to know. That's what the Memoirs of Billy Shears is. It's a disclosure process giving you the tools to be able to know if you want to know, if you have the will, if you have the desire to want to know, you can learn these things, you can figure this out. But if you don't want to know, then that's fine. Okay, back to Walking Dead because I don't want to piss people off. But yes, it is a disclosure process. I can confirm that for you. And there will be a day when most people, well, what percentage of people know the moon landings were fake? Maybe only 20%, 30%. It'll probably be like that. Probably 70, 80% of people will think the moon landings were real. They'll think that, they'll think that Paul was one guy all the way through. Okay, let's get back to Walking Dead because it is supposed to be Walking Dead. And I don't want too much heat on the channel. We're allowed to mix in the other stuff a little bit, but we can't go full out with it, and we can't make a whole channel based on it, or it puts the channel in too much jeopardy. What else Lenny James had to say? He said, quote, "The specifics of our show mean that we have slightly different dynamics about how we could possibly incorporate, social distancing." So that's a good question, right? If you're on Walking Dead or Fear, and you're an actor, actress, and you have to do your scenes, how do you do social distancing with your scenes? I think maybe, this is me speaking now, maybe it'd be better if they temperature checked everybody, tested them if they could, and it wasn't too expensive, made sure they were clean, and then kept them separate from the rest of society, and so they could do their scenes and be close to each other and do that whole thing, knowing that each other are clean, knowing they're all clean. So maybe they have to do like a quarantine process, a separation process, have them stay in places where they're separated, have them have their food or stuff delivered, whatever, this whole thing. And then, but the 6 feet social distancing rule when you're on Walking Dead is a bit strange. It'd be weird to see them all walking and they're all like spread out. I mean, I guess if they have to do that and you see scenes like where they're all spread out by 6 feet, I guess you have to. But at some point you want to see like maybe Negan and Rick fight, or Daryl and Beta throw down and hit each other. I don't know how you do social distancing with that. That's a bit weird. So I would prefer, instead of social distancing, maybe they do like a test and quarantine aside, make sure they're clean so that they can be within 6 feet, because filming a season when you can't be within 6 feet of each other is really weird. What about the zombies? Like, the zombies are people too inside the things. So what are you going to do? Is have the zombies wear masks as they CG their faces? I just don't know, as they come up and bite you, and how are you going to kill them if you can't come within 6 feet? It's like the zombies coming up and then the person's like, oh, and then it's like 6 feet. Maybe you have to give them guns again, or bows and arrows or something. I don't know, slingshots or whatever. Like Connie with a slingshot. James said, I don't think we could realistically go back to work until we have a reliable, quick test that gives a result as quickly as possible, but also one that's cheap enough that we could repeat it every day or every 2 days, depending on what the best health advice is. So that's true, right? If they can test it every so often. Now, here's a big one, is that Lenny James probably doesn't know this. The tests are garbage. This is the thing this is really messed up. Okay, so if you guys are out of the loop on this one, most of you guys probably are. The tests that we're using for TS19 in real life now, I'm not talking Walking Dead, they're actually, should I say garbage? If they're less than 90% accurate, they're garbage, right? And it sounds like they might be. So that's argued heavily right now. I'm not a virologist, so I don't want to get into it too much and have the YouTube gods get mad at me. But the tests that we're using in real life are not 100%. Let's just say that they're definitely not 100%. So, and that goes both ways. There's some false positives in there. People are testing positive, or sometimes some people will send in tests for animals and they'll come back positive. That's happened a few times now. They've done some swabs on some animals and sent the tests in. They came back positive for COVID. Your horse has COVID. It's like, what? So there's a lot of scrutiny right now with regards to the tests. That's tricky. I don't think Lenny knows about any of that. But that's what makes it even more tricky. It's like, well, how do we be sure? It's like, well, if your tests are not 99% accurate, let's say, how can you be absolutely sure? I don't think you can. And then even you might get some people who pop for it, who test positive for it and actually don't have it, which is another problem that we're facing right now in real life a lot. But the mainstream media and that, CNN and that, they kind of kibosh false. Here's what they do. They kibosh the false positives, which means you don't have it, but you tested positive for it. Okay, so they kibosh those, and they focus on, again, the fear propaganda. They focus on the possibility of false negatives, meaning you tested for it, the test said you're okay, but you do actually have it. So this is where CNN, I think, really should be reined in and held accountable. They don't mention false positives, and meaning that the numbers could be exaggerated, but they heavily focus on false negatives, which is like, again, it just makes everybody even more nervous and everything. So it's a bit much, man. Again, that's why I think a lot of you guys don't want to talk about this, but it bleeds into everything. What are you going to do, right? Even Lenny James talking about right now. So, but I think the temperature checks are one good way to do it. And then, I guess using the tests that we have as best as you can, and say, okay, well, at some point you have to move on, live your life, and take a little bit of risk here to live life. What are we going to do? All cower inside our homes and be terrified to get something so we don't leave, and then we just disintegrate in our houses and don't get any exercise and don't eat right, and just cower in fear. At some point we got to stand up. There's a good one for Fear of the Walking Dead. At some point we got to stand up and say, okay, we'll test, we'll do all the right things, but we're not going to be afraid to the point where we're going to shut down. And that's where it's a good option to turn CNN off right now. Maybe Fox is a little bit better. Maybe use Fox or something, Fox News instead, because I think they're a little bit better at actually hearing both sides and actually not being so fear-inducing like CNN is, which is it's disgusting sometimes. I watch and I think to myself, like, you guys are bastards, man. Look what you do to the people, man. You're just bastards. You just want everybody to be absolutely terrified to the point where they can't even move. And that's not healthy either. Do the right things, but don't be so scared that you can't live your life. I mean, that's insane, right? But you watch that crap enough, that's exactly how you're going to feel. Quote, like everyone else, once we're given the all clear, we're ready to roar back. Just like with everybody else, it's a weird moment of pause, from Scott Gimple, Fear executive producer and chief content officer of the Walking Dead universe, told The Hollywood Reporter in late March update, so that was a while ago, after all 3 Walking Dead shows entered various stages of pause. Quote, there are so many people who work on these shows. Between the 3 shows, we're talking about numbering in the thousands. Wow, I didn't know that. But I guess it would make sense, right? If you have 3 different high-profile Walking Dead series, you have thousands of employees for that. Yeah, I guess that's true. We want everyone safe and healthy. That's the deal. We all have to pull together to make sure everyone is safe and healthy. Yeah. So, but do keep in mind that was back in March. So, but there are some people throwing parties right now and going to beaches and stuff. And I would caution you guys on that one. Do respect it as well, though, too. Even though a lot of the media has overhyped this thing and made it look like it's the Black Plague, still be careful, still do the right stuff. I bring a mask with me when I leave still. And what I do is when I go into a shop, I put the mask on just before I go in. And then when I come out, I take the mask off. So that's what I do. So when I'm in close quarters, but I don't wear a mask all the time because it can restrict your oxygen intake, I believe. I've seen certain doctors mention that. So what I do is I bring it with me. And then when I go into close quarter situations, then I put the mask on. That's me. That's what I do. You can do whatever you want. A lot of people don't wear it, whatever. But just so you know, if you wear it all the time, I do believe it restricts your oxygen, which isn't good for your health either. So don't call. I'm not a doctor, but take medical advice from your doctor, whatever. But so far as I've been advised, that's true that the oxygen is restricted when you wear a mask all the time. So you may just want to kind of wear it once you go into situations where you're going to be close to other people. So that's what it is. Let's see. We got any? Okay, so I went through a bit there. I just want to keep caught up with the chats here. Okay, I think we're good. And yeah, so that's what we got right now, pretty much for Walking Dead updates. Okay, so Marcus T asked about a possibility of a second channel for the disagreeable stuff. I'll say the disagreeable stuff because a lot of people, the CIA termed it a conspiracy theory. So that's their term. So that's the pyramid's term against it, to bash it down, when you have people that want to question what's happening in the world and actually find the true, objective truth to answers, instead of authoritarian truth, which means the authority, or in this case, the authority told you what the truth is, and they're telling you that, so that makes it true. What we're talking about is objective truth and what's actually true, irregardless of what the pyramid or what the authority has to say. So the possibility of opening a second channel for that, I've answered it several times for you guys. I'm not starting another channel. I've been doing this channel for 11 years. I'm not doing that, first of all. And second of all, if they ban you or if you piss off the pyramid too much and they talk YouTube into scrubbing you from the engine, they don't just delete one channel. They go to all your stuff and they try to clear it all, whatever they notice. So they'll ban your original channel. They may ban your other channels. They'll say you're not allowed back on YouTube at all. You're deplatformed, so you're done. And then they also go through the engine with your name, and any results they find, they remove those too. So starting a second channel, if I piss off the wrong people, they're just going to delete this channel in addition to the second channel. So there's really no reason to start a second one. At fan556 wants me to do a Britney Spears, thoughts on Britney Spears. Well, that one's pretty simple, and we'll get back to Walking Dead as much as we can. I don't want to lose people. You guys know who Britney Spears is, obviously, right? So yes, Britney Spears, I believe, she was in the Mickey Mouse Club, was she not? Which is Disney. And yes, Disney has ties, especially with the youngins, so she probably was in a mind control program to a small degree. And you can see it sometimes in some of her interviews. Sometimes she'll do a break in her interviews. So she'll be here, and then she'll be, there's what is the one she says? She says, "Whoa, strong breath." And then she comes out of it into another thing, and then she starts crying, and then she goes back. So kind of where you're switching, that's switching. And if you see some of the symbolism they use, for those of you guys want to know, they use a monarch butterfly and they use bird cages. So if you see someone in a bird cage with their head in a bird cage, or you see a monarch butterfly or butterflies around, that usually is a symbolic indication that that person has been groomed, selected and groomed, and put through the programs to develop into the way they want them to be. So what would have been her social engineering job for Britney Spears? It would have been most likely to bring the girls into more of a sexualized mindset earlier on, like the youth, bring the younger girls into that. So that's kind of a short answer for you. We're going to lose people. Short answer for you on Britney Spears. Let's move on. Okay, what do we got here? So, Captain Shark says, I wear a mask with an exhalation valve. Well, that's good. If you got one of those, that's really good. It's probably worth something nowadays because, granted, if it's used too much, no one will want to buy it. But that's good that you have that. My masks are more simple. They don't have exhale intake valve. Painter's mask says the Leaf, Handsome Devil. That's a good call. You could do that too. Yes, the kids bop dead. Let's see what else we got here. Any real good questions here? Her mind probably is somewhat fried, or at least they work on them a lot. So a lot of the people, you guys, this is another thing that most people don't know. A lot of the entertainers or the people that are very top are typically selected a lot of times, and they're typically groomed ahead of time. So they're not just random. You know how the idea is like they're so talented that they get picked or whatever and they brought in. Usually that's actually not the case. If you trace it back, usually it's because they're in a certain family or they're of a certain bloodline, or they were put in really early, like Mickey Mouse Club early. Like, look at how many of the Mickey Mouse Club people are extremely successful later on. You could trace that through if you want to do a back trace. And what you'll see is that when they're in the club at a early age, they tend to, be promoted later on to very high degrees. And what happens to them when they're younger? That's extremely dark, and we can't say on the cast, but you can look into it if you want to. One of the code words for that to look for is bears. Bears. Do you guys know what a bear is? Here, I'll ask you guys one since you're in the stream. Does anyone know what a bear is in the symbology? What does a bear mean? Wait for people here. Or pizza. One of the two. And I can't really answer. I can kind of sort of answer, but I just want to see where you guys are at and how much you know about how our world actually works. What is a bear in symbology? Nobody? Nobody knows what a bear is? Do you guys know what a bear is? Anyone? Anybody? Tim got it. A bear is a code word for an older guy. Yeah, who's typically, it's typically used with the younger people, older person with younger people. That's about what I'll say for that. Pizza, Ski got the pizza one, right? Exactly. So what you guys can do if you want to take what I just showed you, take it and then go back check it. Go to Google image searches, look for the butterflies all around. Some of the younger entertainers are at the top. Look for bears and things like that, and you'll see them. There's some of the codes that they use. Once you learn the code, you can crack it pretty easily. It's sort of like the one eye symbolism, and then you start looking at companies like, is it CBS that uses a one eye? They use a one eye. It's all over the place. You can look and you can see the symbolism everywhere. Anyway, let's move on. I did have some other stuff prepared for Walking Dead, and I don't want to lose everybody here with talking about the other stuff because I know a lot of people don't like it. So that's cool. So some ideas. Okay, so this part wanted to do some ideas for future Walking Dead storylines. So do you guys have any ideas that they could use when they finish season 12 and they go into season 13? They will finish the Walking Dead comic book series content. I'm pointing over here because I got all my trades right there. So do you guys have any ideas for future storylines they could use? I had a couple. So this one is for Daryl, and this one is inspired by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Have you guys ever seen Buffy from was it 2000s, late 90s, 2000s? Great series. Love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's not just for girls. I know that it's got a lead female protagonist, but Buffy was a great show, really fun. Was very popular at that time. I think of it sometimes as like an earlier version of Walking Dead in some ways. It's like Walking Dead TV series with zombies. Walking Dead's much more badass. But Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you had the zombies, you had Josh Whedon and everything. So it was great. But there's one in there where they do like a future timeline with Willow. Okay, so you got Willow who becomes a vampire, and I think everybody basically becomes a vampire except for maybe just like Buffy or something like this. And there's the Master, and basically it's like a vampire apocalypse. They basically take over, and then I think near the end of the episode, Buffy kills the Master or something like this. One of them killed the Master, and then it resets it back to regular time. So I'd like to see kind of maybe an episode for Daryl where they focus on him being the last man standing. They could maybe bring Beth back because she had said that to him that he would be the last man standing. So here's how I would do it in Walking Dead sense. It can't be so supernatural because you don't have kind of the vampire magic element to it with zombies, but you could have you could do it in like a brutal hardcore kind of way. So maybe Daryl and the others are going, maybe they're dealing with a Commonwealth or they're doing something, and Daryl falls down and hits his head. So let's say he hits his head, you cut to commercials, you come back and he appears to wake up. And so you have him go into maybe a little bit of a coma or something like this. And then over time, so he thinks he's awake, but he's actually dreaming, right? So you don't show that until later. You come back to that as a twist later that it was, I know that it's a bit of a cop-out to have it be a dream, but you kind of have to do it if you want to do this. So the idea for the storyline. And basically what you would do is after Daryl falls down, hits his head and passes out, you'd have everybody die basically one at a time, be turned into zombies. So you'd have a nightmare scenario. You could do it in a slow way where you could do it over one episode. It could be one episode type deal. And then at the end, he kind of comes out of his coma, and then you realize that, they weren't all zombies like Carol gets. So you have Daryl fall down, hit his head, passes out, goes into a coma. And then you cut to commercial. Then you see it. He appears to wake up, but he hasn't really woken up. And then you have Carol be bitten by a zombie as part of whatever mission they're on. All the others be bitten by zombies, and Daryl be the last man standing, like Beth had foreshadowed. And then at the end, he kind of wakes up and realizes that not everyone's dead. You could also mess with the audience, and you could leak some pictures of Carol as a zombie online. You could send it to Spoil the Dead fans. I know they're shutting down, but maybe even if you did that, maybe it'd give them a little insight to post it and stuff. So you could leak it online of zombie pictures of Carol, zombie pictures of some of the others, and use it in an angle that way. You could also do it in a multi-episode type of way where you have maybe the Daryl fall down his head, pass out, right, go into a coma, and then believes he's awake, and then you could do a few episodes. But you might not want to do a whole half season or do it too long, because when you have them come out of it and realize that everyone's not zombies and they haven't all been bitten and died, and that he actually was dreaming, you couldn't do it too long, because then you might piss off the audience and they'd be like, oh, it's a dream, whatever, you got me, that kind of thing. So you'd have to be soft around that. But I could picture someone like Greg Nicotero doing a good job of that. So in other words, instead of having everybody become vampires like they did in Buffy and see vampire versions of them, you'd have them all be bitten and turn into zombies, so we would get to see what a zombie Carol and zombie others would look like. Maybe you do it with time skips in between, and then eventually you come back to revealing that no, he actually, when he fell down, he didn't wake up, he's still asleep, and then eventually he wakes up. Something like that. So that would be a cool That'd be a cool episode to do if they did something like that. I'd like that one. Let's see. Okay, so that was one idea I had for a series they could do. Now, for a multi kind of story arc for a villain, for some different ideas for villains, I'd like to see maybe a radical, just based on what's going on in the world right now. These next couple, a radical villain, religious cult leader of some kind. I think that could be kind of cool. So you do like something like an evil Father Gabriel, something like that. Maybe you make Father Gabriel lose his mind and become some kind of cult leader or something, and just be sacrificing people and stuff. You know, it could be like it could be like a positive religious cult, or it could be satanic or something like that if you want to. So that could be an idea for a villain in Walking Dead that could do pretty well. It could be cool. And then there was the idea of the elite of the dead, which I really like, especially what's going on in real life right now. The elite of the dead, so a major elite group that seemed to know the virus was coming and were able to prepare for ahead of time. Family bloodlines, the whole thing mixed in, something like that. And then I would like to see maybe a travel episode or a travel story arc where either maybe they go back to Herschel's farm for some reason. Maybe Maggie decides she just wants to go back there, and you do some kind of more relaxed, kind of happy storyline where they travel back to the farm, something like that, just to see it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's 10 years since the death of Herschel or something, so she wants to go back to see his grave, and you do some travel episode where you have Maggie kind of go back and visit Herschel. So those are just some different ideas I had for some different episodes or story arcs they could do after they run out of the comic content. My favorite one, I'd like to see Maggie return to Herschel's grave, to the farm, and maybe the prison's destroyed. I don't think they could go back there. They'd have to build a set for that. It might be too difficult. But maybe to bury Herschel somewhere there, or maybe she never got a chance to bury him and she decides at some point she wants to go back and bury him. Something like that. I'd just like to see a travel episode of them going back to the beginning of the series, some of the earlier times when they see, like maybe they go by the part on the highway there where they hit under the cars. Maybe they travel past there and they see a little bit of paint still from the what they write on the window for Sophia. Something to do with Sophia when they were looking for in the earlier seasons. Something like that. I'd like to see them travel back past that and maybe have Maggie be the one to lead that. I think makes a lot of sense. So individual kind of character story arcs for some of them could be kind of cool. So so those are just some ideas that I had for it. Let's see what we got here. So not going to happen. So we'll see. Hey, Andrew, how you doing, man? We'll see what they end up doing once they run out of story arcs at the end of season 12. But when we get to season 13, something like that would be kind of cool. Daryl Dixon says the spoiler fans can be super annoying on YouTube. What's the main issue? Spoiling it for others. Yeah, well, they did say that they're shutting down soon. I don't think AMC had anything to do with that. I think they just decided to. It's also true that The Walking Dead is not quite as popular as it was, so maybe that has an impact in it. Maybe not as much interest in that. Or maybe it's just that, at some point you have to move on with life and spend your time on other things, career and whatnot. So maybe that has to do with it. I'm not sure. But Tim F said the problem with the Spoiling the Dead is they didn't stick to just spoilers on their site. They put all over social media with spoilers in the headlines just wrong. Well, yeah, some people like it. Some people like to know right away what's going to happen, and they like to get those spoilers instantly. But Greg Nicotero did kind of go against them and say that they're ruining the show. So I'm not going to argue with Greg Nicotero. Without him, The Walking Dead would not be what it is. He's one of those key people that made the series as great as it is and as great as it was. So, I'm not going to go against him. Rob, man, you don't have to do that, man. I appreciate it, but you always do that, man. Well, anyway, check out Robert's channel if you guys haven't seen it. He just did a super chat, Robert Frank 615, and you can check out his channel. He's got some cool. Subscribe to him and stuff. He supports the channel here quite a bit. So thanks, Rob. Appreciate it, man. So he said, Trev, people love bringing up characters who went MIA in the show, so missing in action with no definitive closure. Morales, Sherry, Heath, etc. I never heard anyone bring up Lily, which is Megan's mom from season 4. Okay, so we're going back here quite a way. So they did, you're right that people always do bring up those that have left, right? So Rob's right that they did bring back Morales, which I never thought they were going to do. I actually couldn't believe they did it. I thought I hit my head and was streaming or something. They did bring back Morales, which is awesome. Sherry, Yeah, so she's going to Fierce. So she's going to be brought back for Dwight, which is really good. And then Heath might come back in the movies, but it probably depends on the actor and whether or not he's going to be busy. And if he is busy, then maybe they just won't do it. But Lily, so Megan's mom from season 4. So there was Tara, and there was Lily, right, and then the girl who was bitten, wasn't she, or she died when the governor was out doing whatever. Tara survived out of them. I believe Lily was killed, and I think that was answered at some point. But I don't wait. So did she put down the governor? I'm trying to think right now. Maybe you're right. The governor's girlfriend, right? Did she put down? Yeah, they said Johnny Price. I think they mentioned that she was killed by zombies in that whole mess after, but they didn't show it on screen. You're right. Tara said she died. Yeah, Miguel. So that's what they did with her, is they just had a line that described her being killed after. Right. So she killed the governor, right? She put down the governor after he was already dead, but she put him out of his zombie mode, right? Because he was going to die from Michonne's stab. There's no way he was going to survive that without a doctor and immediate health attention, which he wasn't getting. So he was dead for sure. She put him down so he wouldn't have been a walker. They never showed her death on screen. Dat Boy's right. And so I think they had Tara say it to Glenn. Is that when the dialogue came through? There was dialogue in there, because remember, we're going back 6 years now off the top of our heads. But I believe they had said for Rob, they just had Tara say, I think, or they had a line where she said that she was overrun and killed. So it was sort of an off-screen death, I guess. But could they go back on that and have her show up at some point? Well, Tara's dead now too, so I guess we're to take that as the end of canon for that. But there are still some characters out there that are surviving from Fear. You have Tobias. You have Taka or Walker, so he's out there too. But the original Walking Dead series, I'm trying to think if there's anybody that's gone missing in action that never came back. It feels like most of the characters did. Heath might be the only one, but we might see him in the movies. Yeah, so it might be Heath. The Vatos gang, okay, Callum. So here's what happened with the Vatos gang. They were going to go back to see the Vatos in season 2, and what happened was the scenes were cut because Frank Darabont went on a rant, and he got absolutely pissed off because the female director, I forget her name, that directed the season 2 premiere didn't do a very good job from his perspective. He thought that it was crap. So he thought that her directing work was awful, or that it was really bad. So they cut it, and I believe they had Ernest Dickerson do the Get Under the Cars as a season 2 premiere on the highway. So they showed it in deleted scenes. So in deleted scenes for season 2, they go back to visit the Vatos. There's like Shane running with his shotgun in a bag after they left the CDC, and they find that the Vatos are all dead. So they were wiped out. Now, were they wiped out by Merle and the governor? I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true, if that's alluded to. I'm not sure exactly. But we are to assume the Vatos got wiped out by somebody, and I don't know if we know who are the ones who wiped them out. But they did get wiped out. So we didn't see that. Anton, what about the people at Grady Memorial Hospital? That's a good point. There was a lot of other cops there that were at the hospital then. But, their leader was killed. Don was killed by Beth. The others that were there were not really significant named characters. So I guess it's more like, whatever. They're there, they're around. There's probably some others you can think of, but I can't really think, except for Heath, of any named main important characters that ever went missing and didn't come back, except Rick. No, and Michonne. We'll see them again. So, and maybe Heath in the, Tregan wiped out the Vatos. Maybe Heath in the movies. So maybe that's when we'll see Heath return. Yeah, so that could be good. She shot the governor. Right, yeah. Lily put down the governor. That's right. Bill Wildman says, love your content. Well, thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. I get nervous now around guys named Bill, if you guys didn't know. Because Bill, Will, William, your Will, do what thou wilt, Masons. There's lots of Masons and illuminated people that are named Bill for some reason. So you got like Bill Gates, Bill Shepard, Bill Clinton. They make me nervous, man. You guys You Masons make me nervous, man. You do, because I don't know what you're up to. You're always up to something, and I'm like, what are they doing now? What are they managing now? Balancing now, right? Always scare me. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So, all right. So those were some episodes. Did you guys have any other ideas for episodes that they could do for Walking Dead? I want to hear some of your guys' ideas. I gave you 4, and I think some of them are pretty good. Maybe you don't like them, maybe you do. I don't know. It's up to you. But what are some ideas you guys think they could do with some episodes? Maybe another one would be investigating how the zombie apocalypse started. That could be a cool one. But I think they have to change it from the comics, because they said it was Kirkman said it was a space spore, and I think that's from Night of the Living Dead, I think. But they could do, so here's what they could do with that. They could do the official narrative as a space spore. That was reported on the news. But then the actual, be like TS19, be like COVID. But the actual cause was something else. Just like the natural, they ate a monkey and whatever. Even Trump's like, I don't know what the F, But the question with that one is, here's the counter for the official narrative for COVID, right? Is, hey, bro, how long those people have been eating those monkeys for? They've been eating those monkeys for a week, a year, a few years, 10 years, 100 years, or have they been eating those same monkeys for thousands of years and there was never any problem, right? So that's the combat for the official narrative, to break down the official narrative that it's natural, that whole thing. Anyway, I don't want to get heat on the channel too much, but you could say that the zombies were caused by a space spore, but then maybe they go investigate it and you do an Elite of the Dead storyline, which is one of my favorites. It's just like real life. You start watching what Bill Gates is saying, you start investigating the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, everybody else in the 13, and you think, what the F are you guys doing? That's what you think. Nobody COVID, right? You guys know COVID, well, I'm not going to say it, but COVID. So what is it? It was named by the World Health Organization, Ted Ross, and Ted Ross is a Gates shill. But anyway, he's the head of the World Health Organization. But you go COVID or COVID. So what does it mean? It's named by the World Health Organization, but I go covert, which is the co part, and then ID. You get it? Covert ID. Covert, you don't know about it. It's kind of a secretive mission. It's a hush hush Mason mission, but it's a covert identification process. So it's a covert identification plan. So that buys into the whole ID 2020 thing. The vaccines having a tracking agent in them or identification agent in them. Covert ID, COVID, that's where you get. Anyway, that's what it means to me. If you want to know what COVID means to me in my mind, that's what it means. Trevor was a space spore, right, Ebag? yeah, Ebag's got it, right? So that's right, man. It's a space spore. CNN. Here's what you do, Walking Dead. You have CNN, and they find a tape of CNN. They put the tape in, and you could call it ZNN if you want to. And then the tape says it's officially a spaceport from blah, blah, blah. Then they go investigate and they find out that all these people knew about it ahead of time and are surviving well and have water and all this stuff and big walls and everything. And we're ready for it ahead of time. Right, exactly. That's real life. That's how you take real life into Walking Dead and you make it work, you see. You have the official narrative, which is what we have too, right? You have the official narrative, which apologizes and keeps everybody cool. The agreeable official narrative. And then you have the truth. And the two, hardly ever do the two shall meet. That's real life. That's how things work. Yeah, Crease B says it's a scamdemic. Okay, let's pandemic, scamdemic. I mean, got a cop. Pandemic. Pandemic. Okay, let's. Yeah, American Woman says traffic will be proven it came from Wuhan lab. Okay, so here's the latest on this. I guess we're in a live stream, so we can say it. So Trump, in a Fox News interview, said that China, he's mad at China. So this is the deal. China stopped the virus from spreading from Wuhan to other places in China, but he's mad at them because he knows, and U.S. intelligence has confirmed, that China allowed the people from Wuhan internationally to return to other countries, while at the exact same time, they stopped them from traveling to other places in China. So they did a block for Wuhan to go to other places in China at the same time as they allowed it to spread out to all the different countries in Europe, the US, everywhere else. So it reveals some nastiness. China stopped it from spreading in China, and they allowed it to spread to the rest of the world. So that's the official. That's not pyramid, because what Trump says is not what the pyramid says. What Trump says is what Trump thinks. WWE promo here. Trump says, it's like The Rock, right? The Rock says, what did Bill Gates say about Trump? Bill Gates said that when he met Trump went up to him and said, Trump hears, now he said this, he said, Trump hears that you don't like what Trump is doing. And then Bill Gates responded, but you're Trump. So it's like The Rock says, Trump is a WWE character. He's like The Rock, right? The Rock says, blah, 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 blah. Trump says, blah, blah, blah. So Trump's got his own opinion, and he knows that China let it spread. So the question is, why did they let it spread? Either they didn't give a shit, or they were incompetent enough and didn't care enough to stop it. They let it spread. My answer is, from my research, and a lot of people online, I know you would know this as well, they let it spread because they were supposed to let it spread. They either allowed it to spread or they were incompetent. But if they were incompetent, then how did they know to stop it from spreading to other places in China? They let it go. But are they the bad guys? They answer to the United Nations, so far as I know, just like everyone else does. They let it spread because they let it spread on purpose. So that's what happened. But it's natural, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. It's cool. So it will be proven that it came from a Wuhan weapons lab. Well, what do you mean proven? What do you mean proven? The pyramid comes out and they come on CNN and they say, no, they have their shill doctor on, right? This is what they do. They have a formula for this. This is the formula. If you guys don't know their formula, they have a truther on who will tell you maybe the truth about what happened. And then they will have a shill come on and argue with them. And usually they will have the shill. They'll try to have the shill win, or the shill will be well prepared and usually will typically win the argument or the debate. Here's a question for you guys. Do you guys know any shills, professional shills, because there are professional shills where that's their job? Let me ask you guys if you know any. Does anyone here know any CNN shills? They used to use them for UFOs too. I can think of some ones in UFOs online I've seen on the shows where they have their government shill on, who's basically what they call a skeptic, but he basically just bashes down everything to bring it back to, they're usually male too, to bring it back to the government opinion. They should have some female shills. Where are all the female shills? Do you guys know any shills I'm thinking of? I can think of one, the science guy. Is that enough of a clue for you guys? Who's the science guy? Yeah, ex-CIA guys. Right. They have UFO crap facilitated. Yeah, they let it go now. They don't care about the UFO thing anymore. You're allowed to talk about UFOs now. Who are some shills? Okay, Fauci, that's a good one. Gupta. Yeah, Gupta's a good one. Gupta is such a Gates shill. It's unbelievable. Gupta is probably on Gates' payroll. He is such a goop shill. Anderson Cooper, yeah. Bill Nye, you got it. The Leafs handsome. Bill Nye, he got it. Bill Nye, the comedian, the actor, who's an engineer, who's not a scientist. I have more claim to being a scientist than he does. I have a bachelor's of science. He has an engineering degree. He's not a scientist. Yes, Bill Nye. Another one, deGrasse. Yes, girl and guts got it. Neil deGrasse Tyson is another Mason shill. He's another hidden hand Mason shill. Yes, he is. Bill Nye as well, I guarantee you, is a Mason. If he's not a Mason, then he's in the club. He's a CIA, or he's one of those. And he always argues for the agenda every time. And he used to do it for UFOs too. But he's one of the skeptics who's basically a government agent, a shill type of guy who comes on to argue. Neil deGrasse Tyson is another one. Yes, he is a big one. Tim also said it for him too. Yes, absolutely. Bill Gates thinks he's a doctor, says Creasby. Bill Gates, this is the deal with how the world works. Okay, Bill Gates is not a doctor in the same way as the Rothschilds are not presidents. This is how it actually works. The doctors bow down before Gates. The doctors get on their hands and knees in front of Gates, the money man, and they ask Gates what to do, or how do I work this stuff out. That's the way it works. So Gates is not a doctor. He's above the doctors. The same way as the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are not presidents, they're above the presidents. If you've seen Game of Thrones, when the king goes bankrupt, he goes to the Iron Bank of Bravos to take out a loan. In real life, That's the Rothschilds. That's the Rockefellers. They're the guys that the kings or the presidents go to get their loans. That's the way our world works. Yes. So you can have your Trumps, you can have your kings, you can have your queens, you can have your whatever, and they act like they're, whatever. I'm Trump, so I'm jacked and I'm whatever, I'm the tough guy. Or you can have the king of England, you go hundreds of years ago or whatever, 1,000 years ago. You have the king, right? I am the king, blah, blah, whatever. And then behind the scenes, when the king goes broke or when the country goes broke, they go and they see their banker. And that's where the real power lies, in my opinion, is in the. So if Game of Thrones equivalency, instead of Daenerys or Jon Snow or Tywin Lannister or King Robert, the real power is the Iron Bank of Bravos. Or Stannis. When the king needs money, they go to the bank. That's basically the way it works. So yeah, basically the pyramid is you could say in real life, the pyramid is the Iron Bank of Bravos. That's an equivalent for what it is in real life, not TV. Well, real life is a TV show to a degree. CNN is a TV show. It's like it's almost as bad or as scripted as something like Walking Dead would be in terms of realism. It's literally that separated from reality. CNN as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, whatever it is. All right, what else we got here? So Soros, Ellen, yeah, Ellen is such a social engineering shill. It's disgusting. She is such a shill. I can't stand her, man. She's a shill for the women. She's a social engineer for the women, and I can't stand her, man. I hate her, man. It's like I know what she's doing. I know her job. Same with Oprah. It's the same thing, man. They're social engineers. The pyramid knows exactly what they're doing. They have the important people in the important spots to mold public opinion, and it's dangerously effective. It's disgustingly effective, absolutely. Or online, I'd say maybe Joe Rogan, but it kind of looks like Joe Rogan's trying to kind of shake the shackles a little bit because he's leaving YouTube and the others for Spotify. So maybe he feels like if he goes to Spotify, he'll be able to have more free reign so long as he doesn't piss off the CIA. If he pisses off the CIA, then they have to, like with moon landing talk and stuff like that, or pyramid talk, then they have to come down on him and be like, hey, what are you doing? You're not allowed to talk about that. It's the same thing as happened when there was Eric Dubay challenged Neil deGrasse Tyson to a debate. If you guys don't know who Eric Dubay is, he's a pretty badass guy from Thailand. I think he's a teacher. He's a pretty badass flat earther from Thailand. I wouldn't debate Eric Dubay on the sphere model. If I debated Eric Dubay, I would expect to lose. I would expect him to beat me. What do you think Neil deGrasse Tyson said when Eric Dubay wanted to debate him and they wanted to do a debate? Do you think he took him up on it? No, he didn't. He didn't take him up on it. He just did the mockery routine. Oh, it's so ridiculous. It's so silly. I don't even want to talk about it. Well, why are you scared of? What are you scared of? Are you afraid you're going to lose the debate? Why don't you do it? Because the reason why he doesn't do it is because it's going to pass attention to a divergent person who's thinking differently about things, and they're going to shut that down. I'm happy that Eddie Bravo did some stuff with Eric Dubay, though, because I think Eric Dubay is really, really, really smart, and he might have some awesome stuff there that he's onto. So I'll just say it that way without getting myself in too much heat on myself. Freeland256 had said, Trev, I saw an article on Twitter recently that said that Greg Nicotero told Collider he pushed hard for Negan to die in the season 8 finale. I'm glad they didn't listen. Thanks for the vids. Keep them coming. Hope you stay on here. So thank you, Freeland. I hope I stay on here too. I want to do more Walking Dead stuff. I have a pre-order for Paul is Dead, the Image comic, so I want to do a review of that. And, I love doing these different videos with you guys, but I don't want it to get the channel in trouble. But we might do a Paul is Dead Part 4. I also want to do one on John is Dead because I found some cool stuff that most likely he knew. There's one song from John Lennon where he goes into when he was younger, living. The lyrics are like living the illusion of freedom and living on borrowed time. So my impression of John Lennon is that he knew he was going to be killed ahead of time. He knew that they were going to kill him. He knew that he had given back his MBE to the Royals. He knew, and he disintegrated the band. He disintegrated the Beatles. So he knew at some point in time he was going to be killed. I'm certain that he knew that. So we might go into that a little bit and do a video on that because John Lennon's life story is amazing. And then you had Gal Gadot do Imagine. She does the Imagine sing along with the celebrities where they're celebrating their plague party. That's what they're doing. They're celebrating a plague party. Sadism. So, you know, it's what it is. But anyway, I want to do one on that. So we'll see if I do Paul is Dead Part 4. I did Part 3. I thought it was really good. If you guys didn't see it, check it out. You've got Bill and Let It Be referring to himself in that version where he says, you know, there's still a chance, Bill, that they will see. So I played that 3 times in the intro of Part 3, which is pretty cool. So to introduce you guys a little bit to who Bill is, if you don't know, so that you can kind of get a little bit more. There's a lot to it. So, yeah, there. Paul is Dead video 92. We could do 1,000 videos on Paul is Dead if you guys really want to. There isn't enough interest there, though, from what I've seen. People don't want to do it. But we could do 1,000 videos on it. That's how much there is to it. There's that much out there because Bill constantly tells everybody that he's not Paul, and he constantly tells everyone Paul is dead, and he constantly F's with you. That's why, which is really fun. So, yeah, and there's also a mention of the Beatles in the book, The Committee of 300 by Dr. John, is it Coleman? Yeah, the Committee of 300 book, where he goes into the Dr. John Coleman goes into the Committee of 300. He also did a talk on viruses too in the 80s. I think it was 80s or early 90s. And he talked about how they're designing different viruses, and that part of the plan is to wipe out part of the population using viruses. So I don't know if they recanted on that, if they went back on that. They decided to use, okay, let's not worry about the depopulation, but let's get the populations under control. Is what I think they're working on now, is to get the populations under control, because they don't want Africa being, you know, billions of people in Africa and then China 5 billion by itself or some crazy shit like this, because people keep pumping so many babies. So they want to, you know, ID, they want to track it. I just hope they have good intentions. That's the only thing. I hope that they don't want to, you know, it's better if we have to choose, okay? If you have to go between depopulation, i.e. killing a bunch of people, or, you know, doing some kind of birth control situation where you just sterilize certain amounts of people using vaccinations or whatever you want to do, so that they don't have a whole bunch of kids. So you don't have to kill them later. It's probably better to stop them from being born in the first place than to have too many people and then you have starvation, or you have to kill a whole bunch to reduce or whatever. These managers, man, they're basically, if you guys want to know what the Royals are and what the Masons are, they're basically managers. They're managing society. They're managing the planet, basically, is what it is. And that's what COVID is it's a part of a bigger plan for population control, because it's getting out of control. Now, that isn't local to one country. That's global. So when they have their meetings, when they have the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission. Have you guys seen the logo for the Trilateral Commission? It's like these arrows that go like this, like a recycling type of arrow. But if you look at it, it's 3 of them, Trilateral Commission, and it's 666 if you convert it. You guys seen this? Look up on Google Trilateral Commission. Here, let me get it for you. Trilateral Commission. Trilateral Commission. They have all these think tanks they use. Committee of 300, Trilateral Commission. There it is. It's a 666. Yes, here, check it out. You guys will like this. This is cool, right? Let's see. Copy URL address. I'm going to give you guys a link right now to the Trilateral Commission. It doesn't look that good. It's kind of shaded out in this one. Okay. All right. This one's good. Let's see. Copy image address. I know most of you guys don't want to know any of this stuff. It upsets you, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I know. I don't care. Whatever. Can you guys see that? Can you click on that link? Hey, Blooded, how you doing, man? We're talking about crazy elites and how they want to kill everybody. No. They want to track everyone and manage everybody. Okay. Nothing is real. Yeah, so there's the link right there I sent you. Okay, so that's the logo for the Trilateral Commission, which is another one of these think tanks that they have where all the rich people get together, and they all like Oprah and people like that. And the Rockefellers, not the Rothschilds, they typically don't leave Europe. They make their minions go out and do what they want for them. But you guys see, okay, so it's 3 arrows, Trilateral Commission, that goes up like that. Now, do you see how the arrows can also be used to form a 666? Yeah, it's cool, right? It's fun. Anyway, all right, let's move on. I'm savage. I know, Christian Cow. Yeah, I am. The girls hate it, man. The girls hate it. You know why? Yeah, I know why. It's because I've said this before too. It's because the average person, I looked up the psychometrics for this one. the average person's agreeableness is like 0.8. So that means that they're too highly agreeable to figure out when people are bullshitting them. So I'm not bullshitting you. I'm actually just telling you the way I interpret, the way I think the world actually works. See, Mr. Nax has got it. Mr. Nax360 says, when exactly did you become crazy? So I'd say the same answer that I have for everybody is September 1st or September 11th, 2001. That's the day I became crazy. So Mr. Nax doesn't know that this stuff. So Mr. Nax here. So here's the thing. I don't hate people like Mr. Nax. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Mr. Nax. But here's the problem, guys. Some people ask me. Some people sent me this. Someone sent me this the other day. He said, Trev, when will everybody wake up and realize that they're being lied to, or realize that Gates knows way too much about this virus and all this stuff, and realize something's wrong? When will they figure it out? Okay, so this is my answer for you guys. I do not think that the average person maybe will ever figure this kind of stuff out, because the median agreeableness is over 0.8. So it's too high. So they can't psychologically. Tavistock knows this, by the way. Tavistock, do you guys know what Tavistock is? Tavistock is their, oh yeah, I'm not being sexist, American women. What I'm saying is that in the psychometrics, well, this is kind of sexist a little bit. Okay, but it's true also. I promise you it's true. In the psychometrics, women are a little bit higher in agreeableness than men. It doesn't mean all women are too highly agreeable. They're a little bit higher agreeable than men, a little bit. So that makes it even harder for them to figure out disagreeably that it's bullshit. That's the problem. So yeah, so that's what it is. So anyway, Google is Skynet. Callum Perry says, wait, Google is by far the most powerful influence in the world. Yeah, Google is basically Skynet. So here's one of the things you guys don't know, and I know a lot of stuff from kind of what I've done over the years on YouTube and that. But there's certain areas that if you publish it to Google or if you publish it to YouTube, they will actively push it down. They will force it down, and they will promote the regular CNN agenda-based narrative. So this stuff is all over the place. I consider it to be misinformation, but basically what it is it's if you're on the side of the pyramid and you're in what I call authoritarian truth, meaning the authority said, this is the truth, and that's how it is, that will get promoted in the engines to the top. So if you look at someone like Eric Dubay, I don't agree with everything Eric Dubay thinks. I don't agree with everything he thinks. Okay, but he's got some really good points and some really good stuff. Okay, really, really good stuff. Now, the question is, why isn't Eric Dubay promoted to the top of YouTube? Because his stuff is so good. I mean, it's really, really good. If you want to watch his flat earth stuff, it's awesome. If you want to watch his moon landing stuff, he just, him and Bart Sibrel and the others, they smash the moon landings to bits. I mean, after you watch some of their stuff on the moon landings, you'll sit there and be like, whoa, okay, yeah, obviously this didn't happen. Yeah, obviously. But why is that not at the top of the engine? They get heat also. A person like Bart Sibrel has admitted that he's been pulled into rooms with government CIA people and told, like, what the F are you doing? You can't do this, yeah, whatever. Been threatened with his life, that whole thing. They threatened to kill him. One of the astronauts threatened to kill him as well when he went to their house. He said, should we call the CIA and have him whacked? I think his son said, for Bart Sibrel. And also, one of the astronauts on Apollo 11, I won't say which one. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say. Okay. One of the astronauts admitted to Bart Sibrel that they didn't go, and that it was a film, or it was filmed on a set. It wasn't real. So one of them admitted to him it wasn't real. And I believe that that's correct. Yeah. Yeah, we actually landed on the moon. Sure. We actually landed on the sun, Trev. I don't think we've landed on, can I say if we landed on any celestial bodies with a man? I don't think we've landed on any with a person. It's all, you can do it with robots. You can do it with your tech. But I don't think we've had a single person step foot on any celestial body, be it moon, Mars. I don't think they're going to do Mars. Maybe eventually they'll try to do it. But if they're going to do it, they have to be able to fake it to where it looks really good. And they weren't really able to do that with the moon landings. I don't think they'll be able to do it with Mars, even with today, because the problem is the quality of the video today is higher than it used to be. So it's even harder to fake now because people will see it and they'll realize it's CG. But most of the pictures of Earth are actually CG if you look at them too. Even NASA says they're CG. Alex Jones is disinformation, says American Woman. That's a good question, man. I don't know if Alex Jones is a disinfo guy. Maybe he is. That's possible because some of the stuff he does are kind of really crazy. The Left's Handsome Devil says, what are some good conspiracy documentaries? Well, if you want to know anything about outer space being fake, I'd say go to Eric Dubay. He's got some awesome stuff for the International Fake Station. He's got some awesome stuff for the moon landings being fake, and it's quick too. It doesn't take that long. Bart Sibrel is the lead person in the world for the moon landings being fake because he's got it down. He figured out what they did actually, and I believe he's correct. I believe Bart Sibrel is correct for the most part. I believe he's got the narrative. I'm saying objective truth. I'm not saying authority truth. I'm saying Bart Sibrel has I believe he has the objective truth about what the moon landings actually were. So you can go to him if you want that. September 11th, Christopher Bolin, Bollyn, is the world expert on that. If you want to know what happened on September 11th, you'll get the info from him. And then what's going on now with COVID? It's all over the internet with Gates. I would say if you want to know what's going on with COVID, you got to go to the source. Go to Bill Gates. Go to Bill Gates' YouTube channel. Listen to all his talks from the last about 10 years or so since 2010. Listen carefully to what he's saying. Don't just listen. Listen carefully to what Bill Gates says and think of it in terms of a plan. And then it'll click. You'll go click, 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 click. Okay, I got it. That's what they're doing. So check it out. Yeah, absolutely. And then Paul is dead. Paul is dead. Mike Williams, I'd say, the Sage of Quay. You can look up, write it down. Sage of Quay. If you want to know about Paul is dead, Sage of Quay is the guy to go to for Paul is dead, and Bill Shepard and the differences between them. So you can go to his stuff, and also Plastic Maca. That's Tina Foster. I'd say she's the lead woman in the world for Paul is dead. If you want to know that. So used to be way more Walking Dead. So Lou's getting pissed. So let's not piss everybody off. Alex Jones called the frogs gay. Yeah, Mr. Nax 360. And he was also on, so here's a good one. This is a good point for Mr. Nax. Who was on Joe Rogan Experience? Because I know Joe Rogan Experience is kind of, it's in the middle, but it's more closer to Pyramid than it is to Free People. So who did he have on? He had Alex Jones on. So it's very possible Alex Jones could be disinfo, right? He could be a disinfo guy. He had Alex Jones on. He will not have Eric Dubay on, period. He has not had David Icke on. I don't know if he's asked if he's asked David Icke to come on. David Icke just can't or won't. So that's a good point, is that Alex Jones did go on the Miro. No, it's not. That's not what it is. Miro, it's I use Walking Dead to start because that way we don't get heat. Because we get heat otherwise. They ban list the stream. If I use the other words, then they block the stream. Then you guys can't see it. So that's why I also use Walking Dead. And we did do Walking Dead for about 45 minutes out of where we're at right now. Let's see what other Gigadeath says, Trev. Doesn't Tina Foster think that book is disinfo? Yes, but she's wrong. And I have no problem saying that. Yes, she thinks it's disinformation. But in this case, Tina's good. She did a lot of stuff. The facial comparison she's really good at. But she's wrong. Bill is his name, and I believe the memoirs of Billy Shears is mostly factual. Mostly. It's not all factual. It's listed as fiction. They put in some bullshit in it, but it's mostly factual. So I believe that Mike Williams is correct about that one, that it is a disclosure process. Yeah. Yes, Alex Jones, Mr. Nax got it. Yes, Mr. Nax, Alex Jones was on Joe Rogan. So what does that tell you? It tells you with his audience that Alex Jones is at least, they're friends. Yeah, they're friends. He's at least, can I say is he for real 100% or is he disinformation? The fact that he's on Joe Rogan kind of would, at least it's a sign. It might not be entirely true, but at least it's a sign that Alex Jones might not be completely as anti-pyramid as he acts to be. I also don't hear him name drop a lot of the families too often either. But he did do one with a Rothschild. There was one where he went at a Rothschild a while ago, so that was fun. So maybe Alex Jones is not disinfo. I don't know if he is or he isn't. I'm not a rebel against the government, Christian. I'm kind of for the government, local governments. I'm sort of against the United Nations and against New World Order, what you would call it. Yeah, One World Order. I'm kind of against that. Yeah, I'm not against local governments. I'm pro-local governments for the most part. I'm just anti-Kissingers and anti-unelected people that get to decide what happens with the whole world. I'm anti-Gates, I'd say. I think Gates should be working on operating systems. What the F is he doing in virology? What the F is he doing buying the World Health Organization and buying all this shit up for the Rockefellers? Get his ass out of there. Get him back to making software, man. Get him out of World Health. I don't know what he's doing there. Get him out of there. Oh, he wants to help you, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Get him out. I just say get him out, man. I don't think he deserves to be there. I don't think he should be telling people what vaccine they should have or not, whether or not they're allowed to go back to work. I don't think he should be telling Fauci, and then Fauci's going to Trump saying, oh, we can't do it, health advisor for the United States, well, whatever, no. And then Trump's like, all right, fine, we won't do it. I don't think that he should have anything to do with Fauci. I think Fauci should be independent, not controlled by Gates, and have anything to do with Gates. Get him out of there and let the rest sort itself out in and of itself. Just get him out of there is my opinion on that. Shit, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Let's get back to fucking net stuff. Ellis Price had said, Trev, you should switch to StoryFire. But, and some people bringing up some other options like BitChute, StoryFire, this kind of stuff. It's tough, man. If I wanted to switch to something else, 11 years of work, I don't think I'd be able to do it, to switch over to something else. So it's just, I'm just going to keep doing the channel as long as I can. If it's here and running, that's great. And we'll do Walking Dead as much as we can. If it gets shut down, well, so be it. But, I want to continue. I hope that doesn't happen. And, I want to continue with you guys, but also I want to tell the truth. And I know that's very dangerous, but I want to do that. And sure, you pyramid heads can call me crazy. Go ahead. I don't care. Go watch CNN and it'll make you feel better, I guess. Electric Nipex says, Trev, I need your opinion. So I had a dream last night about The Walking Dead, and Daryl was distracted by someone who kind of betrayed the survivors. And as he was distracted, a walker came up and bit him on the back of the arm. I've never had a dream like this. What are the chances he's going to die? So Electric Nipex believes he has had a premonition in a dream that Daryl will be bitten on the arm and will die of an arm bite. Do I think he will? No, I think he just had a dream, Electric Nipex. So it's good. But I liked it. I thought I would include it because I thought it was funny. But no, I don't think Daryl will die like that. Not for a couple of years. You can come back and tell me that your dream was a premonition. If in season 12 or 13 Daryl gets bitten on the arm and dies, then you can get the synchronicity connection in. Cade Quillen says, I really hope they just end the show where the comics ended rather than the show going for years more. I think it'll be awesome to see The Walking Dead end at a high point, ending on their terms rather than waiting for the show to fizzle out and end at a low point. So a lot of people think that, Cade. I personally am sort of where I'd like to see it go on as, basically as long as they want to keep it going for. And I gave 4 or 5 ideas for some pretty good storylines there that I think could be good. And I don't think anyone else here has posted any. At least I didn't see any. But they can come up with some good stuff. And they could also ask Kirkman, what are some ideas he might have had that he didn't use? But the origins of the zombie apocalypse could be good. Going back to the farm, going back to Barry Herschel for Maggie or something like that could be good. Maybe she brings her son to go see his grandpa or something, or to go visit his grave or something. That could be cool. Daryl, a dystopian Days of Future Past zombie type of future where he's just ends up being in a coma or something could be cool. I'd like to see that. And what else did I bring up there? Lead of the Dead, and then a radical villain, radical religious tyrannical leader type of person. Let's see what we got. Season 13, is that a thing? Well, maybe season 13 will be the last season for Walking Dead. Maybe season 12 will be the last season for Walking Dead. I hope we get a 13 and maybe a 14, maybe. So that's what it is. So YouTube has been getting worse, Tim F says, with censorship, but now Twitch is doing the same. Yeah, there is YouTube traffic, I've noticed, for other channels seems to be down as well, too. I think a lot of people are mad about the censorship question. I think a lot of people are really upset, and they don't want that. But, YouTube doesn't really know what's going on. They're in the dark. They're blind, just like everybody, most other people. They don't understand how the world actually functions. They don't understand how these things work, and they're highly trusting, and they believe places like the Center for Countering Digital Hate, stuff like this, and so that's what they're doing. But it is what it is. I still appreciate everything YouTube has done for me and with the channel with you guys. So I'm just going to keep right on going and hope that it works out okay. We'll see. But yeah, I don't like the censorship as much as you guys don't like it. And I wish we could have a truly free, open society with freedom of speech and freedom of thought and all those things. But I know that that's not the case. And I have experience that a lot of you guys don't have, like the guy who called me crazy here. He doesn't have the experience that I have of publishing content and seeing it pushed down in ways that are unnatural. So he doesn't know about that. He doesn't know that the things that are promoted to the tops of the engine and the things that are shown on CNN, the things that are shown on the mainstream media is there on purpose, and it's promoted by what I call the pyramid, which is basically the families of the 13, the Masons, and their secret, I'd say secret government. Yeah, basically United Nations secret government, basically is what it is. A lot of people don't like to acknowledge that. They want to pretend that doesn't exist, and it's just their local government that really has a say. But if you look at what's happening in the world right now, your local government is outvoted by the pyramid government. Your local government is put in place, is put in line by the World Health Organization, and so is YouTube, which answers the WHO, with Ted Ross as the CEO, which answers to Gates. Gates answers to the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers are one of the families of the 13. They answer to the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds answer to Lucifer. So I did the pyramid video, if you guys didn't see it. And it sounds like most of you didn't, but you probably should watch it if you want to know what I'm talking about when I say pyramid. That's the structure. It includes the Committee of 300. It includes the Council of Foreign Relations. It includes the Trilateral Commission. And it includes, what else? There's some other think tanks there. The new one they just made up, the Center for Countering Online Digital Hate or whatever. So CNN versus Fox, says Christian and Kyle. So Fox is pretty good. I like Tucker Carlson. Is that his name? Although I did hear that he has some possible family ties, but he's good for the most part. I like him. I don't like CNN. I hate CNN. And I like truth, objective truth. Mark M called Fauci a little worm. That's good. Green Abe. Oh, I almost lost your super chat. Thank you, Green Abe. I see it now. He says, I love The Walking Dead, but I'm here for tinfoil hat Trev right now. So I don't wear a tinfoil hat, but I know that money makes the rules. Money makes the world go round. And I know that certain people are bought and paid for. Certain things are bought out. And the media is mostly bought and paid for, mostly. Google and YouTube, I think they have good intentions. I think they don't actually understand what's happening. That's what I think. I think they don't understand that what they're doing is they're actually bringing things back into the pyramids narrative even more so, which maybe that's okay because then it keeps everybody in line and agreeable and under, one nation under or one world under whatever, one world government, United Nations, I guess, which is whatever. As long as the people at the top of the United Nations have our best interests in mind, then it's okay. If the people who are dictating and controlling the World Health Organization, if they have our best interests in mind, it's probably all right. If they don't, we got a big problem. Now, which of the two is it? I don't know what they want to do exactly, so I don't know exactly what Gates wants to do here 100%. I can speculate on it. I can speculate what the Rockefellers want to do. I don't know. I hope that they have everyone's best interest at heart. That's what I hope for. If they don't, then God help us. That's all I'll say. Okay, let's see what else we got. I might lose my voice pretty soon. We'll go a little bit longer. I think I'm doing okay for now. Want to keep it more to Walking Dead as much as we can, but I have to go with what you guys are saying here. So let's see. Tim F. got one on Game of Thrones, but I care not to talk about Game of Thrones anymore. Yeah, Game of Thrones Season 8 was good. But, Game of Thrones, okay, the ending was not good, but the lead up to it I thought was good. I just wish they would have gone a different direction in the end. That's all. So did they air the finale, Peo to Pete? Not yet. No, the Walking Dead finale has not been aired yet. And so hopefully we see that soon. But yeah, no, it hasn't quite aired yet. Season 13, is that a thing? And then CNN versus Fox. I said Fox being better. And YouTube censorship continuing. Yes, it is. Twitch doing the same. So it's hard to find a network that we could use where we could just say 100% speak truth and do whatever. But, Yeah. Pedro Pete said Fauci is a Fugazi. Yeah, I like that. You guys know what a Fugazi is? Anyone? I'll let you guys answer that one. Joe Rogan supports Bill Gates. Oh, I'm sure he does. Slinky. I'm sure he does support Bill Gates. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Again, as long as Bill Gates has our best interests in mind, fine. But I don't know if he does, and you don't know either. Even if you say, "Oh, I think he does." Well, you don't know that, and I don't know that. So I guess we just have to hope and pray that he does. Because if he doesn't, oh man, it's going to be bad. If Paul is dead, someone's picking up hella royalties. Oh, yes. Bill's getting paid, brother. Bill is getting paid big time and has been getting paid. Is he a billionaire? I think he's a billionaire, right? So, but he does a good job. You serve the pyramid well. You get to be wealthy. You get to be rich, like your Masons, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. If you serve well, then yeah, man, you get to do well for yourself. That's part of the deal. But is it worth it? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. You have to ask them, I guess. Yeah, Joe Rogan said so on a podcast not long ago. Slinky, yeah, Joe Rogan's on the team. That's all I can tell you. I hate to tell you, and I'm sorry to tell you, Slink. Joe Rogan is on the team, so far as I can tell. He is but can you blame the guy? I mean, he's got a huge audience. He knows that he's basically an unwanted social engineer. He's a social engineer even if he doesn't want to be one, because his audience is so big and so many people listen to him that I would say he's a top level social engineer right now in the world. He might not want to be, but he is, whether he wants to be or not. So as such, yeah. So he says he doesn't care. Don't be sorry. Well, I say sorry because if you're a fan of Joe Rogan heavily and you want truth, then you're not going to get it. You can't by virtue of what side he's on. So you can't really take him at his word, or you can't take him seriously because he knows his power. He said it to Eddie Bravo. He said, Eddie, you can't say that stuff. You can't, you gotta see. That was when he got nervous because Joe Rogan freaked out, but then Eddie Bravo covered because Eddie Bravo said, but I'm crazy like this, right? So it's okay. So you guys are okay. You're fine. See, Eddie covered for it. He saved him. But, yeah, it's really unfortunate, but, it's what it is. If you're that big, you're going to be brought in one way or another. You have to toe the line just like everybody else. Yeah, it's what it is. So Christian Kyle said the FDA stopped Bill Gates' testing program that would send SARS-CoV to tests to every American family. Wonder why. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to look into it. It's just what I find disgusting, Christian, is that this guy who should be retired now, who should be chilling out on the beach, having Mai Tais all day, relaxing, having a bunch of kids himself instead of worrying about everybody else having kids, should be chilling and doing stuff like that, is a Rockefeller gopher. Bill Gates is a Rockefeller gopher. He is doing what the Rockefellers in the States want him to do. And it's disgusting to me. I wish he would just get out of it and just leave the whole thing be, just stop it. But that, managing has got, you're going to manage, right? You want to manage, you're going to manage. So that's what it is. This is management. That's what management looks like. And when it regards to the Masons, it's black and white. It's the checkerboard floors. It's the light and the darkness in the management. So that's what it is. Yeah, let's see. So Mr. D says, the thing I hate about Joe Rogan is he always starts down the rabbit hole like he believes, but then walks it back like it's crazy. He has to. He also does the scary voice, and he makes it real funny. He's doing all that on purpose. It's all on purpose because he has to toe the line. He has to do what he has to do. Again, he can't go against it. It's too big. So that's what it is. So yeah, man, Bill Gates is like $50 billion, says Captain Shark. Well, he's got enough to buy World Health, and he did. So that's the deal. And we let him. Yeah, that's on us. We let him buy World Health. We let him do it. So that's our fault. So what are we going to say? We let him buy it. So what are you going to do? He's got it. It's his control, whatever he wants to do. So we'll see what he's, what's going to happen. Who knows? But nobody should be able to buy World Health. That's my opinion. Nobody should be able to do that. Okay. Daniel Leos wants to know if I watched Rick and Morty. So I like Rick and Morty, but I'm not I'm not caught up with it 100%. I haven't seen all the episodes of it, but it does look funny. I like to watch some of the clips and stuff. So I like it, but I'm not caught up with it 100%. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. So I think that's most of what I wanted to go through with you guys for today. We did mostly Walking Dead today for the most part. And Robert asked me, are you still pissed off about Game of Thrones? To a degree, I am. I just think HBO dropped the ball so bad. You know, if you have Gimple saying that the Walking Dead shows have thousands of employees working on them, and then you ask how many people are working on Game of Thrones right now and have been since it ended? What? Nobody? You know, it's just such a shame. It's like, yeah, I am kind of pissed off because they could have done so much with Game of Thrones, and I wanted to do more content for Game of Thrones. I wanted to do reviews. I wanted to be excited about it. I wanted to have more Game of Thrones series. And they just they dropped it. They dropped the ball. So it's what it is, man. Let's see. Rogan moving to Austin, Texas, going to get weirder than usual on Rogan's podcast, says Peyote. I'm not sure if that's true. Is that true that he is? We'll see what he does, man. We'll see what he does and whose side he's on. But, I mean, you can fence sit, for Joe Rogan. You can fence it as long as you want to. I don't hold anything against you for what you do. I know he's got a family, right, guys? So I get it. I know you got a family, whatever. You got to do what you got to do. What are you going to do? Forget it. Do whatever you want, just whatever. I mean, is anything really going to change anyway? No, probably not. So whatever, it's what it is. Jeremy Hewitt's a good stream. Thank you, Jeremy. I hope you liked it, man. House of the Dragon, will you watch? Hey, Lou, if they get it done, man, if we get another Game of Thrones series, if they get it done, I will watch, but that's if they get it done, and we got to wait for that. It's hot out today, guys. Kind of getting hot in here with all the lights on, but I'm going to have to go have a shower pretty soon. It's getting too hot in this room. When will they start season 11? Josh Freeman wants to know. I predict, Josh, probably earliest start date would probably be December or late November, most likely pushed into 2021, most likely, So what are we going to do videos on until then? Well, we'll get to review whatever Fear episodes we see, however many that is. They have not confirmed how many that is. We'll do different videos on different stuff. I'll try not to piss anyone off and get the channel shut down in the meantime. And we'll just keep going, I guess. And I'll try to check out other series that we could talk about that's fun if we see any. Hey, Eli, did you just join? We're almost done, man. Crees V says, thanks for the great stream. Do you guys have any questions about any of this stuff that you want to know from me? And I'll give you guys this too. I'm not just for you guys, so you understand this. I am an entertainer in the entertainment business. I might be separate here online on the internet, but the channel does have 150 million views through my different channels. That's more than most TV series ever get in their life run, in their lifespan. And like Gimple said, you have thousands of people that work on these series. For this channel here to have 150 million views with one person who did it all, Jess helped a bit. Two people, I got to include, we'll include her. Two people who made this channel possible. That's a lot. I have seen a lot of things over the last 11 years, and I know a lot of things that a lot of you guys might not know. So you can sit there and you can say, Travis, tinfoil hat, he's crazy, whatever. I'm telling you guys that this stuff is real, and it's not crazy and whatever, blah, blah, whatever. I'm telling you it's real, and I'm probably not supposed to do that, but I'm independent, so I can do that. If this was a show on a mainstream television network, I would not be able to tell you guys any of the stuff we just went through. But I promise you that the stuff that I've given you and told you in this podcast or in this video and the others that we've been doing in the last 2 months, my understanding from my experience in the entertainment industry here on YouTube, in Google search engines, in what's pushed and what's pulled in and out and what's mixed around, my understanding in the information war basically is what it is. It is an info war, like Alex Jones would say it is. And it's basically, truth is what we're talking about here. Actual truth is what we're talking about. We're not talking about authority truth, meaning what CNN says and what the United Nations says. We're talking about actual real truth here. So to the people who say, well, this is crazy talk, whatever. No, actually, I know you're not used to it, but it's actual truth talk. You're actually hearing what we're actually doing, which is kind of fun, is we're actually talking about real things. And they might be new to you. They might be completely new to you. And you might sit there and say, what the hell is he talking about? I have no idea what the Council on Foreign Relations is, the Trilateral Commission is, the Committee of 300. I don't know who the Rockefellers are. I don't know what Bill Gates has to do with the World Health Organization. I don't know what he has to do with Fauci. I don't know what he has to do with this plague that's come out. I don't know what he has to do with China. I don't know how all these disconnected pieces are connected. What I'm simply telling you, which I can confirm for you is true, they are more connected than you think they are. And that's what I'll give you. Now, who's got any questions? Any fun stuff? Eli, thanks for the super chat, man. Do you have any questions you want to send through? Anything you're wondering? Anything you want to know? Do I have a rough idea for the finale? Yeah, like I said, or a finale for season 10. A couple of possibilities, Lou. If they release it right away and they decide to do that, it should be within a month or a month and a half. But I am suspecting that they might hold it back, which I don't hate them for that, because maybe the advertisers have all fallen through for AMC and no one's advertising right now. I don't know. So as far as that decision goes, I don't think it's been made yet. I think it's still coming up, but it'll either be within a month to month and a half, or maybe they'll hold it back to publish it later when they get their business model straightened out after this craziness. Mr. Nax, you're still crazy, Trev. Well, I know a bunch of stuff that you don't know is basically what it is. Like I can tell you Paul is dead because I know he actually is. But you're not really supposed to know that. Are you supposed to know that? Yeah, you're allowed to know it now because it's 2020. But what unpacks with that? It unpacks a whole background that's going to be completely new to you, which is that the world is not a free and open society, like JFK said, in the way you think it is. Look what happened to JFK. The world is not a free and open society. JFK told the truth. It's not. And that's what it is, man. That's what it is. So you can say, well, you're so crazy. But maybe you're right. Maybe I'm crazy because I know all this stuff that other people don't know. And I understand all these things that other people don't. And so as a result, I have a different type of worldview than other people have. So that's true. But basically, it's that we live in more of a monarchy than people want to admit. And I know people don't like that, but it's the truth. Our elected officials, it's like, yeah, they make some decisions. They do some local, policy. Trump gets a bit overzealous with China and with other stuff. Trump's got to watch it. Sometimes he gets a little bit he might be overstepping his bounds a little bit, I'll say, with some of the things Trump does. And I don't think Trump knows that these other parties are very powerful and they're actually real. And so you have to kind of be careful. Like, someone like a Gates, right? You got to be careful with a Gates because Gates is extremely powerful, man. He has bought World Health. If you like that or you don't, he has bought it. And all you have to do, that's not a theory, that's a fact. He has basically purchased World Health. So, it is crazy stuff, but that's the world we live in. So what are you going to do? That's why China thanked him for his guidance and his advice, because China did what he told them to do. So yeah, man. So Joe Rogan backs Bill Gates. Well, I just hope that he's right. I hope that Bill Gates has our best interests at heart. I really do. Because if he doesn't, then we're in trouble, big time. So let's see what we got. Any actual questions here to wrap things up? Let's see. It's like Rambo at times. It's so dark. Well, the world is pretty dark, man. Sometimes it is very, very dark. Morrison's dad started the Vietnam War with the Gulf of Tonkin incident, says Tim F. Yeah, I believe Mark Devlin. I'm a fan of Mark Devlin. You guys know who Mark Devlin is online? He's very good. He has done a really good job of tracing the bloodlines and showing the connections between some of our prominent celebrities like The Doors, right, Tim? That's what you're talking about? Jim Morrison. I don't want to get the names wrong here. The Doors, Jim Morrison, and his dad was a military. What was he? A general, or he was very high up in the military? Yeah, Ski knows. Ski 1384 says, "Bro, you're not crazy. You're right on." Exactly. But the thing is with us, Ski, is that when we bring this information to the agreeable average public, they blank out. They're like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean that Trump doesn't rule the world? What do you mean Trump's not the most powerful person in the world?" Yeah, he's not the most powerful person in the world, the same way as JFK wasn't the most powerful person in the world. I hope his fate is different. I'm okay with CNN bashing Trump every day. I don't want to see anything bad happen to Trump. I do think, is he a good guy? Is he bad? Which side is he on? I think he's at least edgy enough to not be totally a complete pyramid sellout, at least to a degree. And I think that's why CNN always gives him a hard time, because I don't think he's 100% on their side, 100%. So those of you guys who are in the agreeable average public, when you see CNN and Trump go at it, what do you think is happening there? You think Trump is crazy and they're just they just don't like him, like that one company doesn't like him? There's a lot more going on there than what you realize. There's actually a struggle for social engineering between different psychological views of Trump and what he is, and whether he's a good president working really hard and doing the best he can for the people, or whether he's, as CNN's narrative would say, is a uncontrollable sexist doofus who's racist and a bad person and all this shit. So CNN and Trump are fighting for social engineering propaganda or psychology. They're fighting in psychology to how to get the masses on which side. So are people going to vote for Trump? Are they going to get on his side and realize he's really not that bad of a guy? Or sometimes he might say some stuff like the infectant or injecting the disinfectant that's not a good thing to say. Okay, fine, whatever. But is he going to be able to get people on his side, or is CNN going to be able to pull the people into thinking, and with their mind control pumps, that he's this moron and all this stuff, and he's a bad president, and he's this doofus and whatever, and all this whole thing. So CNN is evil. CNN should be shut down. So what I can tell you is there's more going on there for guys like, what was the name? Oh, Mr. Nax. Okay, so there's more going on there, Mr. Nax, than just one news company fighting with one president. What you actually have happening is you have power at play here. You have power struggles for who's going to get the people on their side. Is Trump going to be able to get the people on their side, or is the mass media under the pyramid, CNN, MSNBC, Gupta and Cooper and Gates and all these bastards? Okay, maybe I'll throw it back. All these people, are they going to be able to get who's the bad guy? Is Trump the bad guy? Because CNN wants you to think, and MSNBC want you to think Trump's the bad guy. Or, which in some ways, we're all a little good and bad, aren't we? We all do things we shouldn't do sometimes. So is that the truth? Or is it the truth that CNN and MSNBC and Gupta and Cooper and the rest of these cronies that I like to think of them as are really the bad guys here? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? So that's what's happening. So there's more to it than what the average person would see. Eli, Monitor, I just hope nothing bad happens to Trump. I hope we don't have the JFK situation, because I do think sometimes, whether it be tariffs, whether it be international free trade, whether it be pumping up America, I think Trump is actually trying to pump America. He's trying to get people to pay, like China to spend the $250 billion. Is that what he said? $250 billion in the States. They're supposed to buy it. And the ink was barely dry, and then the virus came out. So he thinks China did it on purpose, basically, is what the president of the United States thinks, that China allowed the virus to leave on purpose, maybe because of the contract and them not wanting to spend it, and they want to renegotiate. And Trump says, no, you're not renegotiating. You're spending $250 billion in the States, and you're effing doing it. So there's some big world heavy hitters at play here for what's happening. And for the layman, okay, fine. It's a natural virus, whatever it happened, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Trump is an idiot, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know what he's doing, even though he's pumped the economy to heights. And even in this plague, the economy is still actually only down by I think it's under 20% now. It's not that far down for the markets. They're not doing that bad considering what we're going through. So, you have a lot of different things happening here and different power. It's a power struggle, in what's happening. So I hope it's cool, and I hope that everything works out well for everybody, and the American economy still does well. The globalists, or the United Nations, to be specific, get what they want, and the families get what they want. Everybody's okay, and they don't have some kind of depopulation agenda in mind here, and that I hope they have a tracking agenda in mind, and that's it. And I hope that's true. I hope it's not anything more nefarious than that, and they just want to be able to track the people that don't have ID in Africa, in India, in the places where they don't have an identification or birth certificate or whatever, because they live in certain places that are so poor that they don't even keep track of who's where or what's going on. So I hope it's all, I hope it's all in good with everybody. I really do hope that. And I hope that they don't want to depopulate too much or maybe sterilize too many people or stop people from having kids. But certainly in Africa and in India and China, I suspect that if they get the vaccines all around, that there will certainly be some tracking and maybe some sterilization included in those. I do believe that. Now, that part's conjecture. I could be right, I could be wrong. But Bill Gates said every time he's talking, he always goes back to it's going to be really hard in the developing countries because they don't have the healthcare, they don't have the infrastructure to help, blah, 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 blah. So we need to be really cautious of them that they might lose people. What he's really saying is he's very concerned about them, and he really wants to ID all of them, and he wants to know how many of them there are. That's basically, and maybe sterilize some of them so they don't keep pumping tons of babies to the point where there's like, where we're 8 billion or whatever. Then we're at 20 billion or something, or by 2050, we're at, this is an important date. They keep bringing up 2030 and 2050. So we'll see what they have in mind, but I hope they don't want to bring things down too much by 2030 or 2050. I hope they just want to kind of stave it off so that it stays at around 10 billion, maybe 12, and that's okay. I hope they don't want to say do a 5 billion thing, because then you got to go minus 8 to 5, and that's nasty. Whatever way you do it, death is nasty. So I hope that they're okay with that, and that more what they want to do is they want to stop it from getting to 20 billion or 30 billion. They want to keep it around 10 billion or something and say, okay, let's keep the world population around there. Okay, fine, whatever. It's going to happen either way. It's not like we're going to stop it, so we might as well just accept it. It's not like these agreeable people are going to know any of this or going to understand any of this at all. Eli sent it through. I wish you the best. One question, in your opinion, are we at war right now? A new kind of war, but war nonetheless? No. Not at all. Basically, what we are, you could view it as maybe we're at war against this plague. That's kind of a way, but no, this is a United Nations directive under the World Health Organization, under particularly Gates and the Rockefellers. They're the key players right now. The Rothschilds are off doing whatever crazy shit they're doing in the UK and London, wherever they are, France or wherever. I don't know where they're at right now. Doing, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Maybe they're throwing plague parties or something. But particularly, this is a Gates project. This is what he's been working on. Like someone asked me the other day, a coworker asked me, he's like, where was Bill Gates? Where was he the last 10 or 20 years? Because he left Microsoft and he was done with that. And then he kind of started the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And then after that, we didn't hear from him again. What was he working on? And you know what I said to him? I said, this is what he's working on. He's working on COVID. That's what he was working on the last 10 years. You want to know what Bill Gates was working on after he left Microsoft? This is it, guys. This is what he was working on. So are we at war right now? No, we're not at war, man. It's all fine. I think everything's going to be fine. I'm not a doom and gloom. I know all this stuff, but I'm not a paranoid doom and gloomist. I think it'll be all right. I don't think anybody, as much of a psychopath as anybody could possibly be, I don't think anyone wants on their conscience billions of lives. I don't think anyone wants that. I think what they're trying to do is, the United Nations, what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to manage the world's population without it getting too crazy out of control in certain areas. Because there are certain areas, especially as Bill Gates says, especially the poorer areas that are getting out of control, that are getting to one country, a billion people in one country. Will they have 2 billion? Will they have 5 billion in 50 years or 100 years? That's what this is about. This is about, I think, within the next 50 to 100 years, will there be countries that have 5 billion people in one country? That's what I think they're afraid of. I think that's what they want to stop. And I hope that's true. I hope that's true, because I can kind of understand that. I can kind of be like, okay, I get that, United Nations. You want to make sure that there's no country that has 5 billion people in it, because then it'll be human. You'll have too many people and it'll be human suffering like crazy, because you'll have starving people and this whole thing. You just have too many. Especially places that are having more children than they can support, and then they need food and things like this, or water and stuff brought into them. If you're self-sufficient, like I live in Canada here, where our population versus the amount of land we have is very low. We have tons of land. We have hardly any people. Our population is very low. And so that's fine. So, we can do whatever. It's probably fine. But certain areas that are getting crazy with their populations in the next 100 to 200 years, I think that's what this is about. They want to, if you can't track everybody, then you don't know how many people are there. So you got to track them. So that's the COVID part, the ID part, the covert identification part. So the ID part is track everybody, find out who's where and how many people there are. Then after that, you can manage it, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So they're going to want to, that's a saying from, if you guys ever worked in management, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You can't manage it. So they're going to track everybody, find out how many people there are. Okay, we can track them. We can know how many people there are. All right, now, do we need to put policies in place in said countries to tell them not to have so many kids? Maybe. Do we need to give them some more money so they can have better health care and better careers so they stop having so many kids? Maybe, because according to Bill Gates, the poor countries are having too many kids. That's basically the problem. So, that's what I can give you guys right now. If you want more details around the COVID situation, that's the best I got for you. It's not the agreeable, naive, it's just a random virus, well, whatever. No, it's not that. It's so much more to it than that, and it fits the data. It fits Event 201. It fits how the Netflix pandemic series was done ahead of time. It fits how they did the practice run scenarios of an influenza-type pandemic a month before it started. That fits all the checkpoints. That fits all the data. A natural bat virus does not fit any of that shit. There's no way you can know there's a bat virus coming a month beforehand. So the parties I just mentioned that knew about it ahead of time, they knew it because it was part of a process, and it wasn't natural, and it wasn't just a happenstance. So that's where I go with that one. That fits the data, and that makes sense to me. A naturally occurring hurricane type thing that just happened, that no meteorologist was able to predict and just happened. If that was the case, then you wouldn't have Trump being like, hey, why'd they stop it in China, but they let all of us get it? Well, they did that on purpose. Why'd they do that? Because they were told to. Who were they told to by? Oh, trace it through. There you go. That's the logic. Green Av says, thanks, Trev. Very eye-opening, probably even 10 times deeper than what we know. Very scary. You're not going to get that from CNN. Let me tell you that. Gupta and Cooper and these cronies are not going to give you that information. Your Rogans, they're not going to give you that information. Okay? And yeah, I get a bit heated. I'll calm down. The Masons get mad when I get too angry. What the Masons are mostly concerned about is they get mad when like a David Icke or whatever starts to make threats or starts to get too heated. It's hot. Okay, it's like it's almost 100 degrees in here right now. It's like, really, really hot in here right now. The lights and stuff and the vents closed for air because I want to do this with you guys with no background noise. But I'm not angry. I don't want any heat with Masons. I don't want any heat with the Royals. I'm just saying this stuff because I know what's going on. I know it's true. So that's what it is. Will you take the vaccine? Kristen says. I did a whole video on that. The title was No, Bill, I'm not taking your vaccine if he's the one who gets it done. No, I don't want your vaccine. But I live in Canada, so worst case scenario, I think the vaccine would be kind of unnecessary for me anyway, because I have a cell phone, I have a birth certificate. They know who I am already. That's why sometimes they call me and whatever. But my audience is not that big, so it's not like I have to really worry too much. But I will tell you guys this, disclaimer form, I don't believe in suicide, and I'm very careful, so don't expect me to be getting into any accidents or anything like that. I'm not so self-important that would happen to me. My audience is too small. It wouldn't happen. But anyway, so to give you a little bit more detail, that's my understanding of what's happening in the world. Lou Benner says, who are the Masons? Lou, brother. Oh, I'm so disappointed. Where have you been I've been talking about this. I answered all of this already. See, this is the problem. People skip the videos and then they lose. They don't know where we're at. It's like skipping episodes of Walking Dead and then watching a further episode and saying like, where's Rick? It's like, I didn't watch the last 2 years. Where's Rick? Oh man. So that's basically what's happening. Who are Freemasons? You don't know who Freemasons are, Lou. Okay, I'll tell you some Freemasons. Buzz Aldrin, he's a Freemason. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. Who else is a Freemason? I think Bill Nye, the science guy's a Freemason. I think so. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's probably a Freemason. I've got some Freemasons to subscribe to the channel. I got lots of them. Ryan Kerner says, Trev, your Paul videos are garbage. Ryan doesn't like them. Ryan, are you not? Let me ask you back, Ryan. Do you not like the Beatles, or do you just think that it would be impossible to swap someone out? Is that what you think? So you have no interest in the idea or the concept? Is that what it is? Yeah, Mr. D, do they want to take our guns? LOL. I think that's a long-running thing in the States that they want gun control. They just did some more in Canada here. They banned all assault rifles after a Nova Scotia shooting. Now, I mean, that's a tricky one. Do they want your guns? Yeah, I think they do, but they know that Americans have the right to bear arms. That's so far back and everything, right? That they know that it's not going to be easy to take the guns away from the Americans. It's not going to be easy to do that. So I think they've been working on that. And that's what some of the shootings are about and that kind of stuff on the world stage. That's what some of those are about. But I won't mention any because I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, it's that's one of their goals. But they might give up on it. I don't know if they'll necessarily go for it. But 100% if they'll ever try it. They did it here in Canada, though. They did take all of the certain types of assault rifles and whatnot. They banned them all, and they set a date. And they said you have to bring them in before a certain date, or it'll be illegal and it'll be severe fine and whatever. They're going to pay them for them. They're going to buy all the guns off people, the certain types of guns that they're not allowed to have. Which, I mean, you could go either way in that one. You could say that one's kind of natural because you don't want people shooting up places. That's true. But at the same time, it's also a problem in the States because everybody has guns. So then if you try to buy them back or make it illegal, then what if people just hold back some guns? Because there's guys who have hundreds of guns, right? Collectors that will have, 500, 1,000 guns to one person. Is he going to bring them all in and sell them all to you? Like, how do you know he's not going to hold one back just in case? And everybody's going to hold one back. So that's a tricky situation. Sam, what'd you say? Did Trump do COVID? No, Sam. Did Trump do COVID? Sam, tell me the truth. Have you been watching CNN, Sam? Sam, please answer me. Have you been watching CNN? Did Trump do COVID? No, Trump did not do COVID. Come on. Are you kidding me? Of all the ridiculous ideas. You didn't answer me back. Please answer me, Sam. Have you been watching CNN, Sam? That's what I want to know. Or MSNBC. Have you? Now he doesn't answer me back. Sam, God damn it. Dove, probably shouldn't get into it. Think about it. Use your brain. Sam says, yes, I love CNN. Oh, my God. Oh, cannot news. I love CNN, he says. Oh, my God. Trump's the bad guy. What were we talking about before, guys? What did I tell you? You said, someone said it was crazy. What did I say about CNN's power struggle for social engineering against Trump? What did I say? Sam, thank you. That's the best comment I've received all week. I appreciate it. CNN is the greatest news network of all time. And Trump is evil. And Trump did. I would not be surprised if CNN literally did a hit piece, like an hour special, and said that Trump tried to paint a picture like Trump started the COVID, the coronavirus. Yeah. Oh, my God. That is good stuff, man. We got almost 200 people here, so I don't know if I want to end and we keep going. Let's see. What else we got here? Any good questions here? People want to know stuff. Hey, RT Cat, how you doing? Did you just join? I think so. No, there's no bad guys or good guys. Lou. Well, I mean, that's true that we're all a shade of gray. That's probably true. But, yeah, everyone's got good and bad in them. Some are more bad than good. You just hope Bill Gates is not more bad than good, even though I kind of think he is, to be honest. There's pictures of him with Epstein, if you guys haven't seen that. On Google, you can look those up. He's hanging out with Epstein and that. Yeah. What's the George Carlin joke? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. That's one of all-time great quotes. George Carlin, he's got some awesome quotes, man. RC Young, Trev, when is episode 16 coming back on TV? I've answered a few times, basically within a month to month and a half, and or they might push it back if they want to hold it for advertisement or whatever. If COVID screwed up advertisement. How does one become a Freemason? Robert Frank wants to know. Okay, there's a couple ways. The biggest way for Rob is your dad was one, or I think, is it okay if your grandpa's one? I'm not sure. I'll say it this way. Either your dad is, directly, I think your dad's supposed to be one. Or maybe if your dad and grandpa or dad or grandpa are a Freemason, you can join. So that's one way to do it. If you save a Freemason's life, they can ask you to join. If they think you can benefit them, then you can join. And and then you can use Google to find out where your nearest lodge is at if you want to know. See, there you go, Freemasons. Don't hate me. I'm advertising for you guys too. I'm bringing you free membership. There you go. So there it is. Tesla Da Vinci asked, are you a Jordan Peterson fan? I notice some of the terms you use are terms that people weren't commonly using until he got popular. So Tesla Da Vinci. I did a video this week, which was just a clip from the last live stream when someone asked me about my thoughts on Peterson. Do you guys know who Jordan Peterson is? He's a Canadian too. Matt P says, I'm joining the Freemasons today. Okay, Matt. Good for you, man. I think he's joking. Do you guys know who Jordan Peterson is? Someone answer me. So let's see. Yeah, so I am a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I like Jordan Peterson's stuff. I messaged him a couple times. He was a professor at the University of Toronto, I believe, for psychology. I took computer science. I didn't take psychology, and I didn't go for my master's because, well, the channel partially. The channel was doing too good, and I was doing too good at my job. So I stopped after my bachelor's of science. I didn't go for a master's. I could have done that, but I mean, let's be honest with you guys. You want to be honest with you guys? If you can get the money, get the money. You can go back to school later if you want. If you get the money, get the money. This is what it is. If you have to do that, you have to do that. So keep in mind that was about 7 or 8 years ago when The Walking Dead was super popular and the channel was doing amazingly awesome. Now it's not doing as good, but it's doing okay. It's doing fine. It's doing fine. I don't want to make it sound like it's doom and gloom, but let's see. Trev, could you beat Robert Frank in an arm wrestle? I don't think so, says Callum. I don't think so. But Trev, we need another drink. Another drinking video. I did have a drink this week. Bacardi Black, the bat logo one was on sale. So I got one of those. So maybe I can do a drinking and thinking next week or something like that. I gotta get my car fixed first. So, but maybe I can do that in a week or two. Let's see. So we asked about Peterson and then people lost interest. No one said they knew who he was, I guess. So that's it. So I am a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I'd say the part that I downloaded from his mindset is probably because I knew before I took an interest in his philosophy and the way he views the world, his zeitgeist. I read all of Freud's books, or most of them anyway. I read some Jung. I took psychology. I have like almost a minor in psychology, but I didn't finish it. I don't have quite 6 courses for a minor, but I have, I think, 4 and then a couple in college in psychology. So what I got from Peterson was the importance of character traits and psychometrics. That's really good to know because you have kind of the psychoanalytic theory, which is you have like your Freudian model, your id, ego, superego. So I got all that. I love all that stuff. But then I like psychometrics and trait theory, and he didn't come up with that. He's just kind of popularized it a little bit online. So I can kind of use terminology with you guys like agreeable or disagreeable or openness and conscientiousness. I can use these terms, and people kind of know what they were. I knew about them before I had heard that, but they've been more popularized now, so I can actually use them in my speech to just say agreeableness, and people will know what I'm talking about. And also, what's good about psychometrics is that I think they're very accurate in terms of prediction. So is IQ, but in terms of understanding people, psychometrics are very accurate, and they don't change that much. So it's a bit bullshit in what we think of with psychology and personality change. It's a little bit fraudulent. Typically, our traits mostly, I think they hover around the same thing. They can kind of professionally change. So I think that if you get a job doing something repetitively all the time, that will change because you're doing it 40 hours a week for years and years and years. I think that will change your personality traits to a degree, definitely, because you're doing it so much. Repetition times thousands to tens of thousands. But aside from just people being like, I want to change, it's most of the time they snap back, or most of the time they don't. There's very few times when people actually change, and psychometrics typically stay the same. So I am a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I appreciate him bringing some of the personality traits to the forefront so that we can use them in language now. Nate Hawks says, just joined. Any news on when the season finale will air? So everyone's coming in asking when the season finale is. Yeah, season 10 finale is almost done, most likely within a month and a half, or maybe in the fall if they push it back for advertisements. That's what we've agreed on for that. The Handsome Leafs Devil, Jordan Peterson, was on Joe Rogan. He was on a few times, a few podcasts with Joe Rogan. Some of them were really good. I like some of them. Some of them, yeah, they're okay. He's good for the most part. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. And I wasn't, when I did the video this week on him, that wasn't a knock on him. When I said that he was trying to save God, because I don't think Peterson knows how strong of an influence Luciferianism has in our world. In fact, I know he doesn't know. I'm almost positive he doesn't know how powerful some of our lead Luciferian family bloodlines are. I think he thinks that's paranoid disagreeableness is what he thinks. And he's actually wrong. They are actually extremely powerful, and social engineering is actually real. And you can look into it, and the Beatles is a good one to look into for that. That's why I studied the Beatles a lot, because they were key social engineers in the 60s and into the early 70s with their last releases and whatnot. But he knows, he just doesn't care, says Red October. No, I don't think so. How can you not care about that, Red October? How could you not care? If you're a religious person, and he is, how could you not care? No, that doesn't fit. I'm sorry, that doesn't fit. He knows he doesn't care. You're kind of I think you're characterizing him. I'll use his language, archetypically as some kind of old wise man to the point where he knows everything. Nobody knows everything. And I think he put that in a bucket. He knows a little bit about Club of Rome. He's mentioned that a couple of times. But I think he put that in a bucket of what he deemed as disagreeable, high neuroticism trait people. I think that's what he did. And I think he's wrong. In fact, I know he's wrong about that. Or like you're saying, that he just doesn't care to bring that to the stage. He lets that stay in the background. He did do a good one, where he had a nice drop. And one of the things he said about homosexuality, he said sneaky, and he used the word sneaky because he was referring to sneaky gays, but he didn't want to say it. I'd have to find the interview to show you that one where he says very sneaky, because he was talking about homosexuality. And I think he knows more about that than he's letting on. He knows it's politically incorrect to say anything about homosexuality, like it's not genetic or things like that. Because I think he knows that it's not. It's maybe partially genetic, but it's not entirely genetic. It's partially also upbringing too, and that stuff mixed in there. But I don't think he had the balls to say it, because I don't think he wanted to piss a whole bunch of people off. So that's what he said. That's what I'm saying, Trev, but I hear you. So what do you think? So you think if you're going to make a stand, you can't care about what the other side believes. Well, I appreciate that he made a stand, and that's great. I just don't think he knew what he was up against when he was getting into it. Or maybe he did, and he just thought, I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do, like the David Icke thing. He's going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. That's great. Maybe he's a bit more optimistic than I am. I'm a little bit more optimistic with this stuff because I think the system is somewhat sunk. I don't know if there's any way out at this point, aside from us to just fucking beg and hope that they have our best interests at heart, because the rest of the people ain't going to figure out any of this stuff anyway, so forget it. And I think Tavistock knows that. Tavistock knows that they're going to figure it out. Don't worry about it. You're fine. But one thing that's very promising is online. People have started to go after Gates online, which I think is really good. And they tried to do another thing on MSNBC where he was giving away another whole bunch of money to research against this. And it didn't work. People still thumbed it down. Maybe it was ABC, him and Melinda. They still thumbed it down. So that's great. So yeah, I don't mean to sound October like I'm against Jordan Peterson. I'm not. I appreciate what he's doing. I think it's great, and I think he should keep doing it. But he's got a long road. He's too old. It's not going to work. It'd be too long, and he won't be able. I don't think it's doable because the system is so sunk. I don't think it's doable. It's too late, you know. If you think about World War II was a little bit like, I don't know how much you want to say about that, but World War II, think about it from the bloodline family perspective of what World War II was actually kind of about. It was actually kind of about, Yeah, I don't know how much I want to say. Okay, let's stop. I'll do a Peterson one here, and I'll say it's sneaky, and let's move on. Very sneaky. Okay, let's go on. Nice drop there for anyone who's got an IQ of over about 130 or 40 can figure it out. Lethal Weasel VR says no one knows everything. What about Jordan Maxwell? Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm sure Peterson knows that being gay is not genetic. I'm sure he knows that. It's partially genetic, but not entirely. No one knows everything. What about Jordan Maxwell? So Jordan Maxwell is very smart, and he'll tell you, he'll say basically the owners or the people that run it, they're in Europe. They're not in the United States. And he's right. They are in Europe. But you guys know why they're in Europe. And I think the guy who answered that question is John Todd, if you guys have seen him. Let me ask you guys this question. Why is the Rothschild Tribunal still in Europe? Why didn't it come to the United States? Why are they still in Europe? Anyone got answers? Why are they still in Europe? Anyone know? Let's see. What do you guys think? Let's see how adept you guys are at this stuff. Why do the Rothschilds stay in Europe? Who's got it? Who's got the answer? And then we'll wrap up soon. Why do they stay in Europe? Let's see what we got. Anyone? Nobody? Trev, have you read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley? Well, Ike talks about it all the time, Artsy Cat. I haven't actually bought the book myself and read it all the way through, but I probably should, considering, just what's happening around us. Maybe I should read it. I like to read book summaries to get it quick and then move on. John Todd's really good for one if you guys want to know a little bit more about the music industry and what's behind that. He was killed too, I think. Or did they say he committed suicide? Yeah, I typically think when you're an insider and you come out and you start telling all this stuff and then you get suicide, we have a term for it now. We call it getting suicided. You commit suicide after you've just gone out and broken away from the occult and told a whole bunch of people about it and everything. Then you're suicided. Trev, do you know your IQ? Yeah, Tesla, I have a bachelor in computer science. So it's very high, very, very high. It's close to, but I work also overtime like crazy. So I'm highly conscientious. So that's how I'm so successful and all that stuff. Anyway, I don't want to be narcissistic. Let's get back to what I asked. Why did the Rothschilds stay in Europe? Nobody knows. So you buy the whole John Todd story? That's scary if true. No, I don't buy it all, Lethal. But I believe what he said with music and the occult and the way they cast spells on it, that is corroborated by the Paul is dead information. The Paul is dead information with the occult influences and Crowley and everybody and the backwards Satanism and the whole thing. That is what John Todd was saying, because he became a Christian, born again Christian, I believe, right? So he had left, and he said that he sat on a council of 13 with Zodiac. I'm going off memory here. Zodiac Productions, I think. And he said that when they finished the masters for all of the I think he called them tapes at that time in the 80s or 70s or wherever they were, when they would finish recording the hit, your biggest hit ones, they would take them into an altar room and they would have witches imbue, I guess, willpower or ritual spells into them. I don't believe that actually does anything. I just think that they're imbuing their will into the world is what they're doing. But I don't think it actually does anything. I didn't get anybody here, man, who knows why they stay in Europe. They're in Europe for the Kinder eggs. Tell us they're being England. Yeah, some of them are in London, I think, but then I think France as well. I'm sure they have houses all over the place if they really want to. So money, nope. It's an occult answer, but I didn't get anyone to answer it. Anyway, John Todd's kind of answered it. If you watch his videos on YouTube, you'll hear what he said. So we'll wrap up pretty soon because we're almost at 2.5 hours. I'm not going too long, but yeah. Anybody have any final really good questions before we wrap up? Let's see here. More people want to talk about Bill Gates. I don't know. I think we talked enough about him because that's where the Antichrist is. CP Prossel 96. Okay, you kind of got it. Yeah, you kind of got it. Basically, the answer is let's go with what they believe. So far as John Todd says, and I think he's correct on this. I think he's right. The Rothschilds stay in Europe because they believe that it's closer to, I guess, the spiritual dimension. So they believe it's closer to Lucifer, or it's closer to the extra dimensional beings that they believe they're communicating with, or they believe they are interacting with. That's why they stay there. That's why they don't move to the U.S. They send the Rockefellers to the U.S., I guess, to be the lead family there. But they don't move there because they believe they're in closer contact there with the other side. So, and again, that's what they believe. I'm not into it myself. I don't know if any of that stuff is real or true at all. Closer to hell, Lou said. Yeah, basically, Lou's got it. They believe it's closer to hell. That's pretty much it. Tesla, what is your evidence for all this? In regards to that, why they stay there, that is more conjecture, but it's mostly based on what John Todd said. And I find him to be mostly credible. Maybe not everything, because he did make some predictions on he thought that they were going to take their guns and stuff like that and everything more sooner. And they haven't really pushed the envelope for taking the guns in the States the way a lot of people thought they would. Dr. John Coleman in the Committee of 300, you can watch his video on YouTube too if you want to look up the Committee of 300. He gets into viruses too, and some of the virus plans that they have with the he gets into AIDS a little bit, and the Rockefellers and some of their plans with regards to viruses they were using, which is very scary because that was in like the 80s or 90s when he did that presentation. And then you see what's happening now with the super virus we got. It's like, whether it is, as dangerous as CNN makes out to be or not, it's still the same area of concentration. It's viruses. So he was John Coleman's presentation on the Committee of 300, which you can watch on YouTube right now after this if you want to. It's very prophetic when he starts talking about the Rockefellers and viruses and everything they want to do with that. So the trick is, a lot of them get in trouble when they try to make predictions on what the pyramid's going to do next. That's where you get in trouble, because you don't know exactly what they're going to do. You don't exactly know what they want to do or what they're going to do. I made some predictions in this video with the COVID or covert ID that I believe, but I don't think it's going to be as bad, as other people might think. Ike thinks it's going to be total, complete control and like a matrix-based technocracy merging in with technology and using that to create maybe another matrix or a digital world that is different from ours, staying home all the time, kind of, getting away from personal movement and body movement into like into the technology. So Samuel Palmquist says, are you part of the far right group? And then he says the N word, which I'll try not to get into. I'm not down with Nazis at all. No, so I'm not whatsoever. And also, as far as politics go, I don't really care because I don't really believe in them too much. I don't really believe in politics all that much. To a degree, I do, but I believe money is more powerful. I think politics take a backseat to money. And so that's kind of my worldview. Is there a word for that? Do we have a word for that, for a person who believes in the power of money outdoing the power of politics? I guess you'd say I'm more politically business-minded, I guess, than I am more about like, am I in this party? Am I left wing? Am I left, the right, whatever? I'm not so into that so much. I don't really know if it's that big of a deal. Not with regards to stuff I'm interested in anyway, it's not. And that would be validated by what's happened in the world. It doesn't matter whether your politician is left, right, whatever, libertarian, whatever country. Everybody's doing 6 feet. Everyone's doing social distancing. It's all the same all around the world. So that's what I kind of focus on is the dudes at the top, the big picture. Are you an anarchist, Trev? Not really. I'm kind of a nihilist with regards to this. I like to talk about it. I like to let you guys know about what I think is happening and that whole thing. But I don't think that there's anything that's going to be done about it or that could be. How tall am I? 6 foot. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. I think we should wrap up for today. Slinky said, God is a concept in which we measure our pain. So there's Lenin. Awesome. Thank you, Slinky. I appreciate that. One of the best of the, I like Lenin, right? So that's very cool. So did I hear back from the guy who said the Paul is dead stuff is garbage? I don't know if I heard back from him. Maybe he doesn't believe in social engineering or he doesn't know how it's done. Let's see. He thinks that Jay-Z is just a Satanist and hangs out with Marina Abramovic just for kicks, right? Yeah, just for whatever. It's all garbage, right? So, well, in a way, it's kind of garbage. I mean, I don't like most of it, but it's what it is. Okay, I think we should wrap for today, dudes. So I think I got everyone here. Nate Hawks did send one. I think I answered you, didn't I, Nate, to say that within a month and a half, or maybe in a few months if they hold it back, we'll see what they decide to do. I think I got everybody. All right, I want to thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed parts of the stream. We started to do as much walking and stuff as we could, but you know, had to kind of limit it there because there's only so much to talk about with it. And then we got into some truth talk, which I had fun with, and I hope you guys had fun with. Anarchism is far left. Well, with regards to this conversation, am I an anarchist? I don't think anything's going to happen, guys. I don't think so. You know, I think that people are too agreeable. They can't figure this stuff out. They won't figure the stuff out, so it doesn't matter anyway. I'm kind of there you go. That's not a political. Well, is that a political standpoint to be a nihilist or to be a pessimist? I don't know if that's a you know, a political stance. But I guess if I had to admit, that's what I am. Bit of a pessimist and nihilist. Okay. Because it's going to happen anyway. So when's your next video? The Leaf. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'll still do a live stream with you guys next Sunday night, as long as YouTube doesn't get too mad at me. And maybe I'll have another video for you guys in the next few days. So yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to do any more Paul is Dead videos, because I don't know if everybody likes them. We might have to wait until Bill's gone, and then then the Pyramid releases more information about him being dead earlier and that whole stuff. And then maybe we could get into it more. Then there'd be more interest there. It's just sad to me that for the agreeable people that we need to have the Pyramid say there's something to it for them to be like, okay, now we can talk about it. Now it's okay. So that'll be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Thumb it up. Share, favorite it. Had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me, guys. And I'll see you again soon for another, you know, another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. Good night. Have a good night, guys. See you soon. Yeah, we'll see you soon. The Leafs handsome devil pretty soon, man. Pretty soon. So good stuff. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you guys. Bye.